Astrodome. Game 3 National League Division Series. An epic that will go down as one of October's greatest.
We can be heroes.
Jordan hits one high deep in the left center field, way back there. And this one is gone, a home run. Left center. Into the alleyway. It's tied. Struck out. He has struck out 6 in 2 innings. He got it. What a play by Walt Weiss. And John Rocker lets loose with the emotion. Brian Jordan has become the man for the Braves. After a trying day that ran from jubilation to devastation, the Astros are 1 day away from elimination. And John Smoltz, a great big game pitcher, will try and close the book on the Astrodome forever. The Houston Astrodome, the 8th wonder of the world. It opened in 1965, the first dome stadium in the world. Today, perhaps it will see its final game. Game 4 of the League Division Series. It's the Astros and the Atlanta Braves. The Braves with 1 win, and then they move on. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Rick Sutcliffe. Welcome to our telecast. We had an amazing day here yesterday, and it went the way of the Braves. Today, Atlanta tries to close it out with that big game pitcher, John Smoltz. Right now, though, probably a 6- or 7-inning pitcher because of elbow problems that he's had. And that bullpen, yesterday, he used everybody, did Bobby Cox, including starters Kevin Millwood and Greg Maddux. So it's anybody's guess who will be in there today.
Yeah, there's no telling with Bobby Cox. Yesterday's ball game with Mike Hampton dealing and the Atlanta Braves down 2-0. Bobby Cox said we hadn't hit 2 balls hard all day. He just kind of sat back and watched. But when Brian Jordan hit that 3-run homer, he knew they had a chance to win it. He went for it. He brought Greg Maddux in out of the bullpen. Kevin Millwood for the save. John Rocker with the win. That's how important that game was to Bobby Cox.
All right, it was an amazing day. And now we'll see what he's got left for today. Now, for the Houston Astros, the situation is dire. Not only do they need the win to stay alive, but Shane Reynolds is going on short rest, their starter. He's a 6- or 7-inning pitcher at this stage. Jose Cabrera went 2 tough innings yesterday. Doug Henry went 2 innings. And their great closer, Billy Wagner, is most likely not available.
Well, the story today is Shane Reynolds. He has got to step up. He's done it in the past. He's pitched on 3 days rest. That's not been a problem. But yesterday, the story was Billy Wagner. Where was he? Jeff Bagwell wondering that himself, looking down to the bullpen. He was not available. He's not available today. That's why Shane Reynolds becomes so important.
All right. So the Astros have come all this way. A strong season, one in which they had to overcome adversity many times, and now one final time. John Smoltz with the elbow problems up against Shane Reynolds, who has been struggling down the stretch as well. The Astrodome, one final time. We'll see.
ESPN's coverage of the divisional playoffs is brought to you by AT&T. It's all within your reach. And by Quaker State, for protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions.
The 35th year of baseball at the Astrodome, and in all that time, and in fact, in all the time of their history, dating back to 1962, the Astros have never won a postseason series. The man trying to break their hearts this year, Brian Jordan. And yesterday, he drove in all of the runs for the Atlanta Braves. A postseason record for the most RBIs in a game while driving in all of his team's runs. It's never happened in October before. Walt Weiss, of course, made it all possible with his near miraculous stab of the would-be game-winning base hit by Tony Eusebio in the 10th inning. Just an astounding play. There were plaudits to go around for the Atlanta Braves yesterday.
You know, you would have thought they'd been talking about Maddux, Millwood coming out of the bullpen, John Rocker with bases loaded, nobody out. But both teams before the game could not believe the play that Walt Weiss made. What a momentum swing that created.
The Astros take the field. And is this the last time that they'll take the field at the Astrodome? Here's the Pepsi Atlanta Braves batting order. Gerald Williams leads off in left field. Brett Boone at second base. Chipper Jones third base. Brian Jordan, suddenly he's the man that you might be well advised to pitch around. 6 for 12, 7 RBIs in the 3 games. Brian Plesko back in there at first base. Andrew Jones center field. Eduardo Perez the catcher. Jose Hernandez the shortstop hitting 8th, and John Smoltz the pitcher bats 9th. And on the mound for the Houston Astros, just arriving out there, the tall right-hander, a 16-game winner this year. That is Shane Reynolds. He finished the year in a slump, but on 3 days of rest last Tuesday, the first game of this series, he came back big time and pitched a real strong game.
And he's done that 7 times in his career. His record's only 1-2, but a very respectable 3.30 ERA. Talking with Brian Jordan, John, before the ball game, he said it was something that he heard on ESPN that really motivated him for this series. He said he heard all of the Houston Astros pitchers talking about how they're not going to let Chipper beat him. They were going to make Brian Jordan do the damage. And you know what? He's been glad to do it. Defensively behind Shane Reynolds, a little change at shortstop, Tim Bogart. Greg Biggio says defensively he's probably the best shortstop that I've played with. They're also going with the defense in the outfield. Javier and Spires. You might wonder why not Darrell Ward. You would think they might want to hit one out of the ballpark. Somebody turn this momentum thing around, as Brian Jordan did yesterday with the home run. But Ward's not going to be able to do that from where he's sitting at there.
So that was indeed a surprise. Bill Spires in left field. Now Spires has had fair success against John Smoltz in the past, a .381 lifetime average against him, and Stan Javier a .300 average in 30 at bats. He's in right field, so both superior defensively to Ward, and both have a track record against John Smoltz. Not many of the Astros have hit as well against Smoltz as these two have.
There's a lot of questions going around right now about the manager of the Astros, Larry Dierker. His decision yesterday to pitch to Brian Jordan with men on second and third, a base open, Andrew Jones on deck. He decided to go at Jordan. He didn't throw that pitch, but Jordan was able to drive in the decisive runs in that ball game. No Darrell Ward in the game today. His bat could be a big part of that factor, but defense is tough to play, particularly in this Astrodome in the outfield. You lose balls up there in those skylights from time to time. Ward with not a lot of experience out there. Larry Dierker going with the experience this afternoon.
Ward, of course, had always been a first baseman. They plan for him to go to winter ball this year and work on his outfielding, because there's probably not going to be much call for him to play first base for this ball club for a while yet, with Jeff Bagwell over there. Here is Gerald Williams to lead it off for Atlanta. Brett Boone and Chipper Jones will follow. A quick turnaround for these ball clubs. Yesterday's ball game, a 4-hour, 19-minute classic that ended at 7:30 Houston time. And here we are just a bit after noon the next day, playing again. That one is cracked hard to left field. Spires can't get it. He'll have to go chase it. Williams has great speed. He's on his way to second. Spires up with the ball, and Williams will turn and hold at second base. And the first pitch of the game, a double, and perhaps an ominous beginning for the Astros.
The one thing you look for when a pitcher comes back on 3 days rest is the velocity on his fastball. Does he have that little extra pop that normally he has with the full rest? That fastball right there on the outer half of the plate, yet Gerald Williams able to pull that ball. Billy Spires doing everything he possibly can. Not able to come up with it. Thus far, the velocity of Shane Reynolds doesn't look to be there. You don't normally pull a fastball in that location off of him.
Now Brett Boone, and he's had a fine series, 6 for 14. Gerald Williams is now 6 for 15. And they're going for that first run right away. That bunt is foul, and it is 1 strike to Brett Boone. Boone got a big hit in the 12th inning yesterday. Otis Nixon got it started down with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. He got a hanging breaking ball or whatever it was from Jay Powell and poked it into left field to get them started. And then Brett Boone also got a base hit, and that was the beginning of the winning rally. Later in the inning, A 2-run double by Brian Jordan, also with 2 strikes in the count. Bagwell very shallow at first. No bunt here. He fouls it. Came up, hit him on the body, and the count is 0-2. Also, one of the problems for the Braves, it seemed to be a vulnerability of the Braves. Their top 2 hitters in the order had the lowest on-base average of any top 2 slots in the National League. Not getting on all that often for the likes of Chipper Jones and Brian Jordan. But in this series, that has not been the case. Gerald Williams is hitting 400. And as you saw, Brett Boone is hitting 429. So they've been on base all the time. Well, he got jammed with that one and hooked it foul down the left field line. 0-2 the count. Of course, he'd, in a perfect world, like to get the ball to the right side to get Williams over. But with 2 strikes, Rick, you can't be so choosy.
You know, one thing about Bobby Cox, too, they talk about how much confidence he gives his players. In that situation right there, after the sacrifice bunt, it looked like he put Boone on his own. He said, forget about it, Benson. Go ahead and drive him in yourself.
0-2. There's a splitter. Did he swing? No. First base umpire Randy Marsh ruling in favor of Brett Boone. And we were hearing talk before the game that Shane Reynolds was saying that he really didn't have a splitter right now, that it was a pitch that had been his out pitch for a long time, but he just didn't seem to have the feel for it the last several starts of the regular year. But I know you kind of raised your eyebrow on that one because he threw a couple of good ones to Klesko in the big 6th inning in game 1 on Tuesday.
He might not be as consistent with it as he has been in the past, but I thought that was just a decoy to try to get the Atlanta Braves to think he's not going to use that pitch. They're not going to fall for that.
Chipper Jones on deck. Nobody out. Runner at second. 1-2 the count to Boone. Fastball. Tagging at second. Williams. The catch by Javier. And Williams will easily make it into third base. So Boone gets the job done. He moves him over to third base for Chipper Jones with 1 out.
That's what Brett Boone was brought over here for, his experience in big ball games. He's confident defensively out there. He can do some things offensively, and he's proven that thus far in this postseason. They don't care about what his numbers were coming into this in the regular season. They just wanted his glove behind their tremendous pitching. Now they want him to hit a little bit, and he's doing that.
Chipper Jones. The infield stays back except for the third baseman Taminetti. Right center. In a hurry, Everett got it. Here comes Williams. Here comes the throw. He's in there. And Atlanta has gone ahead 1-0. Well, he needed all of that speed there. Pretty strong throw from Everett. 1-0 Atlanta.
Everett doing everything he can to get to this ball, but once he caught it, he's a little bit off stride. It took him one more step than what he would have liked to have taken to get that throw to Eusebio at home plate, and it was just a step that Gerald Williams beat it by.
Chipper Jones, the Braves' big slugger from the regular season, getting his first RBI of this series. Of course, Brian Jordan has had 7 RBIs. Hard sinker down and in. Jordan, who's got that bad right hand, checked his swing a little bit, then took his right hand off the bat and kind of shook it a little bit. Jordan, 7 RBIs in 3 games. The all-time record for RBIs in a postseason series of 4 games or less in the National League is 8. Been done twice as he hits a foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dusty Baker in a 4-game NLCS while he was with the Dodgers in 1977 had 8 RBIs. And Gary Matthews in 1983 with the Phillies in a 4-game league championship series had 8 RBIs. Of course, Nomar Garcia Parra had 11 RBIs in last year's 4-game division series against Cleveland. That's the all-time record in a 4-game series. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
There's a splitter right there. If you would have thought the Atlanta Braves went for Shane Reynolds saying he didn't have that pitch anymore, he probably wouldn't used it. Well, he's going to use it today, and it looks like he's got the feel for it back.
2 down, nobody on. Fastball, base hit. So Another hit for Brian Jordan, his 7th of the series in 13 at-bats.
You know, I was talking with the Atlanta Braves coaching staff before the ball game, and they said, you know, they think Chipper Jones is the MVP of the National League, particularly because of what he did the last couple of weeks. But he may not be the MVP on their ball club. They said Brian Jordan carried that club the first 3 months of the season. And when you look at his numbers, 100 runs scored, he drove in more runs than Chipper did this year.
115 RBIs. He's running. Klesko takes the ball. Eusebio, strong throw. He got him. Bogart with the tag, and the inning is over. But Atlanta is leading. John Smoltz takes the hill. The Braves have a 1-0 lead in a series which they lead 2-1. Now the Pepsi starting lineup for the Astros. Craig Biggio at second base. Stan Javier in right field. Jeff Bagwell first base. And for Bagwell, lean times again in the division series. And in fact, for 3 years now, he has struggled in these division series games. Carl Everett in center field. Ken Caminetti third base. Billy Spires left field. Tony Eusebio the catcher. Tim Bogart short in place of Gutierrez. And Shane Reynolds is the pitcher, batting 9th. And on the mound for Atlanta, a guy who's been here so many times before, John Smoltz. He has never lost a division series game, winning each of his starts in the last 3 years. And he's won 11 games in postseason play when you add up all the playoff series and World Series efforts.
Well, you wonder why this guy only won 11 games during the course of the year. He's had a lot of arm trouble, particularly in that elbow. He had to alter his delivery, and he did that back on July 30th. At that time, left-handers hitting .253 with just 2 home runs off of him. From that point on, .276 with 5 homers.
Called a strike to Biggio. Nice pitch on the outside. He did something that seems almost impossible. In mid-year, he changed the way he throws pitches. A pop fly, shallow right. This is Boone. And there is one away. So Biggio is again kept off the base paths.
Defensively, Andrew Jones back out there again in center field. I thought it was Brett Boone also yesterday catching several line drives off the bat. The Houston Astros being positioned perfectly. Defense always the priority with Bobby Cox when he goes about assembling a lineup, because he knows his pitching is his strength and he needs somebody to catch the ball.
Walt Weiss, of course, was in there and made that game-saving play in the 10th inning. There's a strike to Stan Javier. Javier yesterday hit a line shot that was caught by Boone, one of those plays you're talking about. One of the hardest hit balls of the day. And that was against Kevin Millwood, who got the save yesterday. And of course, in Millwood's one-hitter on Wednesday, Javier made the final out, crushing a line shot at Brett Boone. So in his last 2 at-bats against Millwood, he has crushed the ball about as hard as Stan can hit the ball and made it out each time. You know, it was interesting. Millwood had that one-hitter on Wednesday. The last time a complete game one-hitter was pitched in postseason play was by Jim Lonborg in the '67 World Series against the St. Louis Cardinals. His no-hitter was broken up by Stan Javier's dad, Julian Javier, but the only hit of that game. He says his dad, Julian Javier, who used to be an outstanding second baseman on some great Cardinals clubs back in the '60s, is retired down in the Dominican Republic, plays a lot of golf, and he's enjoying life, and he may be looking in today. 1-2 to Stan Javier, and time is taken. Smoltz stopped in mid-motion. Now Javier has hit 300 against him over the years with 9 hits in 30 career at-bats. And against Smoltz, that goes as an excellent record. That's down the left field line, a base hit. Gerald Williams was pushed over to the line to begin with, and he will hold Javier to a single. So again, chalk one up to positioning for the Atlanta Braves.
Well, it's basically the same pitch right here that he popped Biggio up on. The difference with a left-handed hitter, it runs away from you towards the big part of your bat. It doesn't run in on you like it did the right-handed Biggio. This is why Smoltz struggles with left-handed pitchers. Excuse me, left-handed hitters. He comes out in that three-quarter delivery angle, and they get a much longer, better look at the rotation on the baseball. They look for that fastball up. When they get it, they can do things like that with it.
Now Bagwell. sinker just a little bit low for ball one.
It's really amazing what Smoltz has been able to do. This guy was a pitcher for 20 years, coming over the top, and a dominant pitcher at that. He basically had to learn to throw all over again with that new angle.
Fastball for a strike. He did it one day in the bullpen, just fooling around, and he dropped down a little bit. And as you see the numbers, Rick, and there they are. Lefties have hit a lot better against him with this new delivery. But he said he realized he had no pain throwing from the three-quarter angle. There's that what David Cohn would call the Laredo slider, and that's what Barry Larkin said astounded him the first time he faced Smoltz with this new delivery. He said, wow, I was not prepared for him to be throwing from three-quarters and throwing over 90 miles an hour with great movement, and then throwing a Laredo slider a la David Cohn. There it is again, missing, and it is 3-1 to Jeff Bagwell, and the Astros waiting for Bagwell's slumbering bat to begin speaking again. In the 3 games, the Astros have scored only 10 runs. There goes Javier, but Bagwell walks. And the Astros have their own early threat, trailing 1-0 with Carl Everett coming up, and then Ken Caminetti behind him. What Bobby Cox does not need today is to have John Smoltz knocked out early in this game. Although he's got a guy out there who could go a good long while if need be.
That's one thing about the pride of the starters on the Atlanta Braves, though. They know for the most part they're going to be there 6-7 innings.
Strike one on the inside to Everett. Everett gets right on top of that plate. It's hard to get the ball too far in without hitting him.
Terry Mulholland was saying that was a big difference coming over to Atlanta. He says the confidence and the pride the starters take in being out there, keeping that bullpen fresh by doing their job.
Jammed in, broken back. Fresco to second, and Hernandez will hold it. Over to third, Javier. Bagwell forced at second. Everett taking first, and now Caminetti with 2 on and 2 out. There's another ball game being played right now on ESPN2. The New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks. No score after 1 inning at Shea Stadium. The Diamondbacks in the same predicament as the Astros. They must win to keep that series alive. Ken Caminetti. Well, he's the man in this series for the Astros. 7 for 13. 2 home runs, although he had 3 hits yesterday. They did strike him out with the bases loaded in the 7th inning in a big at-bat. Well, it was Mike Remlinger who got him in one of the pivotal at-bats of the game. They've only scored 10 the whole series. They've only had 23 hits this series, so he's had nearly a third of their hits and half of their RBIs.
Well, that batting average for the rest of the team in this series looks a lot like the career batting average of Ken Caminetti against John Smoltz, just .213. But this is a different John Smoltz. It's a different angle. Caminetti should have some better bats.
Slapped that sinker foul off to the third base side into the crowd. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The biggest difference in Smoltz is on his breaking ball. When he was up top in that overhead position, he had a lot more tilt to it. That's what makes it difficult on a left-hander. You see the breaking ball, you can think you can get to it, but it just keeps going down. Now that he's out there in that 3/4 angle, it stays flatter, and you're able to get part of the bat on the baseball.
Javier, who singled, is at third base. Everett, who forced Bagwell at first. It goes to 2-1. Caminetti, remember, finished the regular season in a hot streak, and including these 3 games played in this series so far, he has had 39 RBIs in his last 35 games. 1-0 Atlanta. Back out of play. Man, he can still find that little extra on that fastball when he needs to. 96 miles per hour on the radar gun with that one.
Well, he's not really in any danger of hurting anything. That being Smoltz, there's no ligament damage, no tendon damage. He's just got an arthritic elbow that when he puts it in certain spots, he has pain there. He's found a spot where it doesn't hurt, and he's trying to learn to pitch all over again.
There goes Everett from first. The ball too far into Caminetti, and Everett steals second, uncontested. So now a base hit could mean 2 runs. Billy Spires, another left-handed hitter, is on deck. Myers awaiting his turn, hoping to bat here in the first inning.
Look how deep Brett Boone is playing right there. You wonder why he's able to get to so many balls that are hit hard. He's in shallow right field.
Ooh, just missing with a sinker on the inside. Smoltz wanted that one. That was close. Ball 4. The bases are loaded.
There's about a 10-inch difference in the release point with John Smoltz, and because of that, his location will suffer from time to time. Perez trying to get that call on the inside corner, not able to do that. Now the bases are loaded, and one of the guys on the Houston Astro team who's come up with a lot of clutch hits in his career is at home plate, and Billy Spires.
8 hits in 21 career at-bats against John Smoltz. A .381 lifetime average against Smoltz, the best in the club. 3 men on. Javier, Everett, Caminetti. Ball 1 with a fastball. Too low.
And this is where Houston's got to be patient. I think this is where they lost the ball game yesterday. Carl Everett at home plate, bases loaded, nobody out. 2-2 count. He's swinging a ball that was going to bounce before it got to home plate when he hit into the fielder's choice. Get a good pitch to hit.
He took it. It's a little bit high. 2-0. And Perez thought it was in there. And John Smoltz and Bobby Cox, they both thought it was in there. And Smoltz feels like he's getting squeezed right now.
Well, there's a little bit of a carryover effect from yesterday. Dana DeMuth, yesterday's game, was down at first base. Greg Maddux thought he had Craig Biggio struck out. On the replay, we saw Biggio did take a swing. He should have been called out, but Dana DeMuth said no swing, and the inning continued. That could have broke the ball game over. It didn't. Atlanta was able to hold on and eventually win it, but Bobby Cox has never been afraid to tell an umpire just how he feels.
He was ejected, I think, for more games than any other manager this year. Big pitch right now. 2 balls, no strikes to Billy Spires. 3 men on, 2 men down. Smoltz has thrown 22 pitches in this first inning. He's walked 2. Spires is 6th batter of the inning. That is in there for a strike. 2-1.
I think that's a good move on Spires' part right there. Go ahead and take a pitch. Smoltz may walk you. You may not have to put the ball in play. But the one thing they have done this inning, they've run the pitch count deep on John Smoltz. And we know the bullpen for both of these clubs is awful thin.
Javier, Everett, and Caminetti ready to run. And a foul popped off to the left. And he's staying with the hard stuff here on Bill Spires. Shane Reynolds down 1-0. Hoping to see the Astros put him ahead right now. They've got the chance, but they need the clutch 2-out hit. Javier, Everett, Caminetti, and the off and running of the crack of the bat with 2 down. Jammed him right to Boone, and the inning is over. They cannot find that big hit. Another bases loaded, no run inning. John Smoltz and the Braves with a 1-0 lead. Smoltz getting through that first inning despite some bad feeling between himself and the umpire.
Yeah, he made a couple reactions. I don't think Dana DeMuth appreciated. He might be apologizing a little bit there. He also might be trying to work the home plate umpire. I thought those pitches were close. What do you think? Did you miss them? No? Okay. See what happens the next time out.
Smoltz and Walt Weiss talking it over. Walt Weiss, who made that great play yesterday, you know, who was one of the first guys to call him in his clubhouse after the game to congratulate him on the game-saving play? Ken Caminetti. Caminetti has become friends over the years with Weiss simply because he admired the way he played, and the more he got to know him, the more he liked him.
And how about Bobby Cox having the infield in that situation? Probably the slowest guy in the game. Tony Eusebio at home plate. You get a ground ball. It's at somebody. It's a double play. Well, if Cox would have had him back and they would not have been shading up the middle so far, that game's over with. Everything Bobby Cox did yesterday worked out. That's the only reason they were able to win that game. All of the pitching changes.
Brian Fesco, and that's a ball outside. And, of course, Larry Dierker, ball club, for want of the big hit, but also left himself open for the second guess by not walking Brian Jordan there in the 12th inning. On the one hand, that as Ryan Klesko has a count of 2 balls and no strikes, facing Shane Reynolds here in the second. Larry Dierker has never been one to issue many intentional walks. He had 17 all year. And just by comparison, Bobby Cox ordered 55 intentional walks. So that's quite a difference. And Bobby Cox, I think, is more toward the league average, and Larry Dierker nowhere close. So that's the way he does it. But there was some second guessing, I think, even in his own clubhouse about that. 2-1 the count. And that's a ball too low. 3-1. Andrew Jones on deck. The Braves getting a run in the first inning. They really kind of manufactured it. A double. Brett Boone got Gerald Williams to third with a fly ball to right. Chipper Jones got him home with a fly ball to center. So they were able to, with some sound fundamental baseball, get the first run of this game. Ryan Klesko, who's got a real quick bat, as we saw there from backtrack, a 94-mile-an-hour reading on that last swing. It's the Shane Reynolds fastball. Too low, and he has drawn a leadoff walk. Wednesday night on ESPN, it's National Hockey Night from Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. Western Conference Central Division clash. St. Louis Blues and the Detroit Red Wings. The Blues led by Captain Pierre Turgeon. The Red Wings, winners of the Stanley Cup in consecutive years, 97 and 98, led by Captain Steve Yzerman. It's hockey on ESPN. Old-time hockey. Eddie Shore, Toe Blake. Check it out. Kick, save, and a beauty. You ever play hockey? Oh, you're too tall for hockey. I'd like to see you on skates.
How about Tom Glavine? He's a pretty good hockey player.
He was an outstanding hockey player growing up in the Boston area. He was good enough to have been drafted by the Los Angeles Kings of the NHL. He was, when he played hockey as a kid, he said he was Wayne Gretzky. I said, you mean you were like a good stick handler and you fed your team? He says, no, I was Wayne Gretzky who only shot and never passed.
Wasn't big on those assists, huh?
There's the splitter. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Andrew Jones. He said when he played baseball, he was Fred Lynn. He wasn't a pitcher. He was Fred Lynn, driving in all the runs. And he's still a pretty good hitter today.
I think he made a pretty good career decision as well. I don't know of many hockey players that are making the kind of money they're paying baseball players nowadays.
He's still got a beautiful set of teeth. 1-2 the count. Struck him out with a low fastball. So young Andrew Jones is dispatched by Shane Reynolds. 1 away. Klesko still at first.
He really is struggling right now. He's one of the better fastball hitters in the game, but it's almost like he kept the donut on the bat right there. That's a fastball, outer half, not able to catch up with it. Maybe playing 162 games. He only missed 6 innings on the year, that being Andrew Jones. Starting to catch up with him a little bit. That's a tired swing he's got going right now.
Eddie Perez. He got a hanging slider and he bloops it into left center. Breaking for third, Klesko. Everett overthrows, backed up by Reynolds, and he holds Perez over at first base. First and third, 1 out for Atlanta.
I think one thing that goes unnoticed a little bit with Atlanta as well, they don't have a lot of great team speed, but they're all great base runners. They make very few mistakes on the base path. When you lose a Javi Lopez, you lose an Andres Galarraga, you can't afford to make mistakes out there. Ned Yost, the third base coach, encouraging Klesko to get down there. He knows how important that is with just 1 out.
Reynolds over to back up the play, and that maybe saved an extra base being taken.
Well, it was a bad throw on the part of Everett. He didn't get it down. You got the turf to help you on the bounce there. Any speed at all on the part of Perez, he would have been at second base, but of course he's got the bad knees.
And that's a called strike to Jose Hernandez. The infield double play depth. Big moment here. The Braves, who got 1 in the first, with a great chance to get another one right here. Yeah, Everett's throw would have been a perfect throw had Klesko been sliding into the on-deck circle. I think he would have nailed it. Smoltz, the pitcher, on deck. Bagwell holding against Perez at first, although he is no threat to steal. And the splitter taken by Hernandez. Jose Hernandez, 7 hits in 26 career at-bats against Shane Reynolds. He had 19 home runs during the regular season. 1-0 Atlanta leading. Meanwhile, at Shea Stadium, the Diamondbacks and the Mets have played 2 full innings, no score there. That game being shown on ESPN2 right now. Mike Piazza is not in the lineup again today. Although it did seem like the Mets missed him a whole lot last night. They scored 9 runs as they clobbered the Diamondbacks to take command in that series, 2-1. The difference between the Mets situation and the Braves situation, in that they both lead their respective series. The Mets, if they lose today, have to go back to Arizona for the final game. This could be 2. Biggio the second one. Bogart in front is 2. A double play. 1-0 Atlanta, heading to the last of the second. One to nothing. The Braves lead the Astros, last of the second.
The new John Smoltz on the mound right now. He's created a lot of problems for the opposition, as he has throughout his career, but he's doing it a little bit differently now. This is the old John Smoltz. Watch the arm angle. There he is there. Look at that. Now take a look at this one right here. This is where he's going to be. Look at him down in there in that angle right there. That's why it's so much tougher for a right-handed hitter. I mean, that ball's basically starting out at your back. It's going to have more sink to it. See his hand up top there, though, how he's able to keep on top of that fastball before. Now he's coming around it, underneath it. It's going to create more movement. And the great thing for Smoltz, the velocity's still there.
Off the fist by Eusebio, and shallow right. Biggio throws him out, and there is one away. John Smoltz was talking recently about this new arm angle, which takes the pain away from throwing for him.
Compared to where I was before, I couldn't keep going. There's no way. If you'd asked me 3 months ago, what do you think you can do to help this Braves team in the playoffs, I don't know if I could have answered it. It's been another amazing year. Even last year, to even think about what I went through last year. Personally, I'm really the only person that's going to understand it. I really don't make any excuses or really try to tell too much of what goes on, but this is another gratifying year. No matter how it turns out, for me personally, to be able to pitch in the postseason, couldn't ask for anything more.
Just glad to be here.
That's what his teammates love about him. They know that even though he's created that new arm angle, it's easier for him to pitch. This guy is still in a lot of pain to go out there every 5th day.
Bogart over the middle, base hit. That's where they wanted that ball to go in the 10th inning yesterday. Hit by Eusebio with the bases loaded.
Well, and the big difference between Jose Hernandez playing short and Walt Weiss is the fact Walt Weiss would probably have gotten to this ball. Hernandez is in the lineup because they expect him to hit. He did not hit in the top of the second. He hit into a double play, actually, which was worse than not putting the ball in play at all.
Now Shane Reynolds. And back to the bag at first is Bogart. Tim Bogart getting his first start. Yesterday he got his first postseason at-bat as a pinch hitter in the 11th inning and drew a walk. And today he's got his first postseason hit. The bunt, Smoltz will go to first. Boone cover. So Reynolds gets it done. Bogart into scoring position for Biggio.
John, a lot of people are surprised that John Smoltz was able to make this adjustment. Greg Maddux said he had no doubt in his mind that Smoltz could do it. He thinks Smoltz is the best athlete on the Atlanta Braves team. I said, Brian Jordan, Chipper, he said, you know what? There's nothing Smoltz can't do athletically. You could invent a sport, give him some time to prepare, and he'd be a master at it. Great golfer, great basketball player.
Craig Biggio. He popped out to second his first time. 0 for 1. They're in the last of the second. 1-0. Atlanta is leading. Oh man, there's that slider. And it is 0-1. They played 2.5 now at Shea Stadium over on ESPN2. Diamondbacks nothing, Mets nothing. And I'm sure, Rick, that if that score holds for another couple of innings, the pressure will start to get unbearable for Arizona because it's all on them today. And they were the most prolific offensive ball club in the National League. There's that slider from the side by John Smoltz. 0-2 to Biggio. I guess if you're Craig Biggio or Jeff Bagwell or any of these hitters, all of the stuff that you've filed away in your memory about facing John Smoltz no longer applies. That sidearm slider outside. 1-2.
All of the videotape that you've looked at over the years, all of the thoughts that you've got, you know what he's going to do with 2 strikes. You know what he's done in the past when he's behind in the count. You can forget about all of that now.
Runner at second. Fastball, straight foul right over toward the Astros dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now,
trying to paint that outside corner. Perez reaching back there a little bit, but the velocity on that pitch was what kept Biggio from putting it in play.
Eddie Perez likes to get way out there, and you saw his foot outside the catcher's box. Again, considerably out. Hernandez juggles it and does not get anybody. Bogart at third. Biggio safe at first. The Astros get a break.
You're not going to get many breaks from the Atlanta Braves, and when you do, you've got to capitalize on that. What makes this a tough play for Hernandez is that he knows Craig Biggio is going to hustle down the line. He's done it throughout his career. And that's a great lesson for all young ball players. If you hustle like that and you get a reputation, that puts pressure on the infielder. They know they got to hurry. They got to come get the ball. They got to come up with it cleanly and make a good throw. Craig Biggio has always done that, and every now and then you get rewarded by getting on base.
Javier now trying to deliver in the clutch. He did single his first time down the left field line. 0-1 the count. Javier is hitting .375 in this division series. And he has a better than .300 average in his career against John Smoltz. Down and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Astros' top 3 hitters this year, Bagwell, Biggio, and Carl Everett, had a combined batting average of .306. In this series, they're hitting .139 against Atlanta. Those 3, Bagwell, Everett, and Biggio. 1-2 to Javier. Javier walks away from the plate as if to think it over. Jeff Bagwell would be next. So Javier not only trying to deliver the run here in the clutch, but keep the inning going for the slugger to have a big RBI chance himself. 1-2. Broken back. Chipper Jones. He got it. So the Astros, who 4 times have left the bases loaded in these last 2 games, have left 5 on base in 2 innings today. Atlanta won, the Astros nothing. We head to the 3rd inning here in game 4 of this National League Division Series. Today on ESPN, college football at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. It'll be 9th-ranked Georgia 4-0 against 6th-rated Tennessee 3-1. Georgia is the only undefeated team left in the SEC East. Tennessee's T. Martin 16-1 as the Volunteers' starting quarterback. That's at 7 Eastern tonight on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com. John Smoltz leads off for Atlanta in the 3rd. Smoltz, who hit .274 this year. 1 home run, 7 RBIs. Gerald Williams will follow. 1-0 Atlanta out in front. The Smoltz has had to sail through some troubled waters in the first 2 innings, but the Astros have not scored. Driven to right field, and that is right over the head of Stan Javier. Smoltz will stop at second.
There might be some fans here thinking that they're amazed. What are you doing letting the starting pitcher hit a double off of you? Well, if John Smoltz didn't have to pitch in a ball game, he wouldn't be a bad choice as a designated hitter. You watch this guy in BP. I mean, that's a great approach right there. He knows the ball is going to probably be away. He drives the ball to the opposite field. I've seen him in batting practice many, many times hit the ball out to right field, right center, and even dead center.
Gerald Williams, who led off the game with a double. And then the Braves were able to move him around the bases without getting another hit. to go ahead in this game, and now Williams is trying to get Smoltz over to third base. Bagwell racing in right on top of the plate, as he will. The pitch taken for ball one by Williams. He looks over at Ned Yost, the third base coach. I mean, Bagwell gets right in on top, right into the face of the hitter on that bunt play. Caminetti shortened up at third as well. Nobody out. Here comes Bagwell. That's a foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the Braves have had their leadoff man reach base in each of the first 3 innings here. And they were able to get Williams home after his leadoff double in the first. Now Smoltz with a leadoff double here in the third. The Astros have had 5 men on base in 2 innings, but they have not been able to get the leadoff man out. So they've always gotten men on base after they had outs. There's the bunt. Nobody there. And he just does recover in time. Caminetti was right behind him there, with nobody covering third base, and that almost cost him his chance to get Williams at first base.
Real good bunt there on the part of Gerald Williams. The ideal is to get the third baseman to field that ball. He got it going in that direction, and because of the turf, Caminetti realizes right there, I might have to come get that ball. He's got to get an out right there. He knows that. If he goes to the third base bag and the pitcher can't get to the ball, now you've got all kinds of problems. Caminetti knew that he might have to go get the ball. Reynolds able to get it. Unfortunately, able to set himself and record the out at first base.
And Biggio got the put out. Now Brett Boone. The Astros pull in at the corners. Caminetti at third, Bagwell at first. The middle infielders are back. And Boone chases that split-fingered pitch in the dirt. Strike 1. And here's Atlanta with another chance to score a run without getting a hit. Chipper Jones drove in Williams from third with a fly ball in the first inning. Now Boone trying to do something similar here. Boone has hit 400 in this series.
I'm surprised the infield is back right now.
Well, that cost them there, although with the infield in, it might have gone through as well. But even had Bogar made a great play and thrown out Boone, that would have been a run.
Well, I just don't think mentally you can afford to go down 2-0 to the Atlanta Braves. You take a look at this whole series. I mean, you know all about Atlanta's starters, but they continue to come up with big performances in big games. Go back to game 1. Even though Maddox gave up some hits, only 2 runs in 7 innings. Millwood in game 2, only 1 hit in 9 innings. Glavine yesterday, 2 runs in 6 innings, but there was a botched double play ball. They might not have scored in that game. They have not scored yet today.
Chipper Jones. Back to the screen. It is 0-1. Chipper Jones getting his first Division Series RBI with his fly ball in the first inning. Brett Boone just getting his first RBI of the series. So suddenly it's not just Brian Jordan having to drive in all the runs. And for the first time, the Astros bullpen will get to work. Chris Holt, the right-hander, up in the bullpen. Ordinarily a starting pitcher during the regular season, so he could give them a lot of innings today if they needed that. 2-0 Atlanta. 1 out, 1 on, and the split-fingered pitch is swung out and missed. 1-2 to Chipper Jones.
Holt kind of does the same thing for Houston that Terry Mulholland can do for the Atlanta Braves. That's why Bobby Cox was not concerned about his bullpen situation. He knows that Mulholland can not only pitch every day, but he'll pitch all day long if you need it.
1-2. And a fly ball, shallow center. Out goes Bogar. Chipper Jones pops out to short, out number 2 here in the 3rd inning. And now Brian Jordan will come up. At New York, they're in the last of the 4th inning. 3.5 gone by. 0-0 Arizona and the Mets.
Not supposed to have a very good splitter, huh? He's had a real good one today. It's been his fastball that's created the problems for him. It was the first pitch he threw to Gerald Williams. He hit for a double. John Smoltz did the same thing on a fastball.
Jordan singled his first time, a check swing and a fastball foul, and it is 0-1. Yeah, Reynolds got to the park this morning and was telling everybody that You know, he really hadn't had a splitter to speak of the last several starts in the regular year. So he's been having to make do even though he doesn't have his out pitch.
Well, he knows that Brian Jordan listens to what we say. I mean, that's what fueled Brian when he heard they were going to pitch around Chipper and get to him.
That's a foul now. ESPN reporting that the Astro pitchers were going to pitch around Chipper Jones. They'd rather face Brian Jordan. So Brian said that motivated him. It was an ESPN thing. An ESPN motivational technique, apparently. But he loves the postseason. He says, this is what I play for. I thrive on the pressure. And it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to go out there and get 7 RBIs in pressure games. 5 all in one game. All under pressure. I mean, think of what he did yesterday as the count goes to 0-2 against Mike Hampton, maybe the best pitcher in the league this year, 22-4. He was cruising along. They hadn't really even hit a ball hard against him. Bobby Cox said he thought it maybe had to be the only mistake Hampton made the whole day, and Jordan launched a 3-run homer, a stunning home run. And then in the 12th inning, the 2-run double. Those were the only runs they got, and it was just enough. They won it 5-3. 2 strikes to count. There goes the runner. Eusebio's throw past Biggio into center field. So Eusebio skips another throw into center field, as he did yesterday in the 10th inning on a steal by Otis Nixon. So Brett Boone steals the bag.
Eusebio threw out Brian Jordan back in the 1st inning with a pretty good throw. I think the reason Boone didn't get up to go to 3rd right here, he couldn't believe he wasn't thrown out. Look at that. He's got plenty of time to get him right there. Instead, he's just barely able to get the ball to the dirt. Biggio not able to come up with it. And another runner in scoring position for Brian Jordan.
And he's not been leaving too many of them out there. The splitter for the strikeout. Yeah. It's a shame that Reynolds just doesn't have that pitch anymore. 2-0 Bagwell coming up. 2-0 Atlanta, last of the 3rd inning. And the big sluggers coming up for the Astros here. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority, the Commissioner of Baseball, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game, such as they are, may not be disseminated without express written consent. From Rick Suckler. Jeff Bagwell. A slider for a strike. Bagwell walked his first time. Now, Bagwell's had 1 hit and 9 at-bats in this series, but he's also walked 5 times and been hit by a pitch 1 time. Ooh, where was that?
Well, the Braves have actually walked Bagwell 4 out of his last 5 times. They just weren't going to let him beat him yesterday in the latter part of the ball game. Now with a 2-0 lead, though, you can challenge him. He can't tie the game up here.
He went up after that high fastball, high foul down the right field line into foul ground. Jordan over the bullpen mound, and he makes the catch. Bagwell is gone. Now let's get an update from that Mets-Arizona game.
All right, John, Mets and D-backs on ESPN2. Brian Anderson had only given up 1 hit before this. Edgardo Alfonso, however, bottom of the 4th, his 3rd home run of the series, a solo shot. Mets up 1-0. Al Leiter has not given up a hit through 4. Mets still batting in the bottom of the 4th.
Al Leiter, who pitched a 2-hitter in that tiebreaker playoff game on Monday in Cincinnati. Now 4 hitless innings tonight. He actually had a mediocre season for Al Leiter, but he has been their ace just as they had hoped in the biggest games of the year.
What's ESPN going to do in the World Series? We're not going to have Al Leiter to help commentate that series if he keeps pitching like that.
So Rick Suckler predicting the Mets will be in the big show. No. Sorry, Atlanta. Sorry, Houston. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, if he keeps pitching the way he has, the Mets will get their best shot. Carl Everett down on strikes, a slider right in the hand. So Everett is 0 for 2. 2 down and nobody on.
John Smoltz, that fastball right there, he just straightens it out a little bit. Most of the time that ball will run away from a left-hander. Everett saw where it started. He thought the ball would come back to the heart of the plate where he could hit it.
Change up too low to Caminetti, who walked his first time. Well, Bagwell, Everett, Biggio in this series now 5 hits in 39 at bats. That's into center and caught by Andrew Jones. So Smoltz facing Bagwell, Everett, and Caminetti has his easiest inning so far. A 9-pitch, 3-up, 3-down inning. Atlanta 2, the Astros nothing. We head to the 4th inning from the Astrodome. Today on ESPN 2 at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. College football, Clemson and North Carolina State. New head coach Tommy Bowden has led the Tigers to a 2-0 start in ACC play. NC State led by quarterback Jamie Barnett. And you're looking at Clemson quarterback Brandon Streeter. The Clemson Tigers and North Carolina State, the Wolfpack, on ESPN 2 at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, 2 Hawaiian. Don't miss it. Over on ESPN 2, the Mets leading Arizona 1-0 into the top of the 5th inning at Shea Stadium. And as we mentioned, Al Leiter has not yet allowed a hit in that game. Shane Reynolds starts Ryan Klesko with the split-fingered pitch. Klesko walked his first time. Reynolds has had particular trouble today with the leadoff man in an inning. Twice the Braves have led off innings with doubles, and each time they got that man home. They lead 2-0. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Really surprising that he would walk a guy leading off an inning. Shane Reynolds, among active pitchers, only Brett Saberhagen with better control than him, that being guys that have thrown over 1,000 innings. Both of them less than 2 walks per 9 innings. And that's going to help a guy trying to pitch on 3 days rest.
Fastball is in there for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Reynolds this year in 231 and 2/3 innings walked 37 versus 197 strikeouts. A ball and 2 strikes. Fastball off the outside. 2-2. Andrew Jones and Eddie Perez will follow. 2 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error for Atlanta. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for Houston. The splitter. Ring him out. 3rd strikeout for Shane Reynolds. He is throwing a lot more of those today than he did, I think, on Tuesday.
Some pretty good ones, too. You throw that fastball at the knees for a strike. They've got to protect against that again. That splitter looks like a fastball about halfway there. You start to take a swing at it, and next thing you know, it's down in the dirt, and you look kind of silly.
Now Andrew Jones. By the way, at Shea Stadium, Greg Colburn has just homered for the first hit against Al Leiter. In the first run, the Diamondbacks have tied the Mets at 1 in the 5th inning. That game is being shown right now on ESPN 2. Here, 2-0 Atlanta in the top of the 4th inning. 1 out, nobody on. Andrew Jones, the hitter. He's a strikeout victim in the 2nd. Into the hole at short, backhanded by Bogart. The 1-hop AstroTurf throw in time. Nice play. 2 down. Let's go to Bill Pito for an update.
All right, John, you'd mentioned it on ESPN 2. Craig Colburn, the batter, getting the start. Not Yerby Eldorazo because the lefty is going. Al Leiter had a no-hitter up until this point. Ricky Henderson goes back. He looked like he caught it, but no, he didn't. 1-1 on the home run, top of the 5th.
See, that's a problem right there with short outfielders. Huh? You got Michael Jordan out there. He's still got the no-hitter.
This is that AstroTurf Davey Concepcion kind of a throw from the hole at short by Tim Bogart. Nice play to get a very fast runner. Andrew Jones. Eddie Perez, who singled his first time, takes a called strike. Bogart ended up playing a lot of shortstop for the Astros last year after the All-Star break. And the year before because of his glove.
That's why I think defense is just so overrated. What's the difference if you get a base hit or you take a base hit away from the opposition? That's what Bogart did right there. It's a big part of, underrated. That's a big part of the reason that Eddie Perez has been an everyday player this year.
The splitter struck him out. But Shane Reynolds has his first 3-up, 3-down inning. Bill Spires coming up. 2-0 Atlanta. Braves 2, Astros nothing. Last of the 4th inning for the Astros. Now the Aflac trivia question. Who holds the record for the most strikeouts in a division series game? Talking about a pitcher. Which pitcher holds the record for the most strikeouts in a division series game? And everybody knows the answer to this one. It's too easy.
I think it happened right here in the Astrodome, didn't it?
Right here in the Astrodome. Is that a hint? The question is incredibly easy. It happened here in the Astrodome in a game in which Randy Johnson was a starting pitcher. 0-1 the count to Bill Spires. He grounded a second with the bases loaded to end the 1st inning. Andrew Jones in left center for 1 away. Jose Lima, who is always a bundle of energy whenever he gets to the ballpark. And between innings, he got that good luck back. Trying to get the Astros going. And giving Smoltz the evil eye. And that's a called strike. Trying to get that Astros regular season mojo here in the postseason. Eusebio grounded out to second his first time.
He was out there, what was it, 9 o'clock this morning, swinging that same bat, trying to get everybody fired up. He was mad at the security people here at the ballpark, even before the fans got to the game, that they weren't excited. Put some music on.
Chipper Jones. Out number 2. Eusebio is gone. The Astros, after 2 runs in the 1st inning yesterday, have not scored now for 14 2/3 inning, or just the 1 run scored since the 1st inning yesterday.
Look at the defensive positioning right here the Braves had going. They only had Chipper Jones on the left side of the infield. The shortstop Hernandez was almost directly behind second base. You can't do that with most third basemen, but Chipper Jones just has that kind of range.
Well, that one just past Chipper Jones. Tim Bogar, in his first postseason start, is now 2 for 2. It keeps the inning going, so that at least Shane Reynolds, the pitcher, will not have to lead off the next inning. 1-1 the score in the last of the 5th inning now at Shea Stadium. Now Leiter for the Mets and Brian Anderson for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona in the same position as the Houston Astros, having to win today or having to go home. Here's ball 1 to Shane Reynolds. The Astros are talking to Vern Rule, their pitching coach from under Larry Dierker, before the game about their bullpen plans for today. And he said, well, today it's just everybody in the staff. He said, Jose Lima included. That's a foul off to the right into the crowd. He said, if we can win this one and get to tomorrow, we'll figure out tomorrow then. Everything now is geared toward winning this one. He will hold nothing back in terms of sending pitchers out there. Reynolds puts a fly ball into shallow left center. Gerald Williams, and that is the inning. John Smoltz has shut them down on 3 hits through 4 innings. Atlanta leads it 2-0. The Houston Astrodome, the final game. The Astros hope not. 2-0 Atlanta, though. We go to the top of the 5th inning. Now the Aflac trivia question. Answer. Who holds the record? Which pitcher holds the record for the most strikeouts in a division series game? It was right here in game 1 of last year's division series. Kevin Brown against Randy Johnson, and it was Brown who defeated the big unit with 16 strikeouts and did not even pitch a complete game. Trevor Hoffman came on to pitch the 9th inning of that one. I mean, you'll never see a more dominating game than the one Brown pitched here last year.
Speaking of dominating, it looks like Shane Reynolds has got the feel back to that splitter. You set it up with the fastball as you did to Andrew Jones, but look at all these strikeouts. The pitching coach, Vern Rule, made a simple little adjustment going into game 1 of the divisional series. with that split finger fastball to Reynolds. He said he was getting long with his arm. It started looking like an off-speed pitch more than his delivery looking like that of his fastball. Just shortened up the arm angle a little bit. He got the bite back to it, and it's been a good pitch for him today.
Curveball into the hole. Bogart's got a long throw to get Hernandez, and he does it. Bogart is having a sensational day out at shortstop, and with the bat he is 2 for 2 at the plate.
2 for 2 offensively, and he's taken 2 base hits away from the Braves defensively. Tremendous play in the last inning to get Andrew Jones. There he sets himself. Look at him come up with it. Now just stand right there. He's got the gun and the perfect throw to Bagwell.
He has been a busy man out there. It is the 6th play that he has made in this game afield. John Smoltz has his second hit. He led off to third with a double over the head of Javier. Now he dunks a single in front of Javier. John Smoltz. Meanwhile, at Shea Stadium, they have completed 5 full innings. Arizona 1 and the Mets 1. That game being seen over on ESPN2. Here on ESPN, Atlanta 2, Houston nothing. Shane Reynolds, it's not that he's not pitched well. He's pitched well enough to keep his club in the game, but for the Astros, where are the runs? In the splitter, Gerald Williams takes low. Williams led off the game with a double and scored the first run. Then he set up the second run with a sacrifice bunt. The Braves have been playing little ball today. Fundamental baseball, getting a man on, moving him up, and then getting the clutch base hit or fly ball or whatever it takes.
And you know what? Bobby Cox has the ability to manage the game any way he wants. I look back at yesterday's game. They're down 2-0. It's the top of the 6th inning. He could have panicked. He could have. Tom Glavine was leading off the inning. He could have thrown a pinch hitter up there. He said, no, Glavine's day's not over. Glavine made an out. Next that Gerald Williams made an out, and then a base hit, a walk, and a 3-run homer, and he got the runs he needed.
2-1.
He could have panicked. He could have all of a sudden said, we got to do something. You know, that's not the way he manages. He didn't do that during the regular season. He's not going to change now.
John Smoltz, 4 shutout innings. Reynolds 4 1/3, 2 runs, 6 hits allowed. The splitter high in the air to left field toward the corner, deep. Going back, he aspires on the warning track. Wow. Is the wind blowing out or what? That one got out there, and Gerald Williams was leaning out over the plate with a flick of the wrists. 2 down.
That's a strong man right there. Take a look at this. I mean, he's fooled right there. He basically hit it with just his left arm. Braves a little bit excited about it. Kept going and going and going, and like everything has been going against Houston. Bagwell hits that pop-up down the right field line. It just stays in play. Brian Jordan able to make that catch. And this ball here, maybe the first break Houston's caught, staying in the ballpark.
Now Brett Boone is fly to right, setting up a run. Then he singled home the second run, and the sinker is a little bit low for ball 1. So Boone has had a real big day for Atlanta. I mean, if he does not move Williams from second to third in the first inning, the Braves may not have gotten that first run. Williams scored on the subsequent fly ball by Chipper Jones because he was at third base. 1-1 to Boone. Then Boone just went ahead and singled home the run in the third. And he's been playing excellent defense out there at second base, as you would expect in this one. 1 ball, 1 strike. And 1 ball and 2 strikes over the outside corner.
Brett a little bit mad with himself right there. He likes to hit that fastball, but he was guessing split finger. He thought that Reynolds would try to get him out with that pitch instead of Reynolds painting that outside corner with 2-heater. Now the splitter more likely to come.
Yeah, now if he was guessing it there, he's got to be guessing it now. Because that pitch, even if you're guessing it, it can be tough to hit. Got a fastball, base hit. Just muscled it off the fists. Stopping at second, John Smoltz, as Javier throws in behind him to Bogart covering. Well, the hits just keep on coming for Brett Boone. 8 hits in 17 at-bats in this series.
I'm wondering why there wasn't a split finger fastball coming there, but you could see Eusebio reach back across the plate. He wanted that fastball away. Reynolds just missed with his location there, and because of it, this game could be broke open right here with Chipper Jones at home plate.
45 home runs during the regular season. Today, a sacrifice fly for an RBI and a pop out to short. He starts him with a splitter. 0-1. He kind of hung it up there, though.
What if a National League MVP cannot put a hanging splitter in play? What if you'd have thrown a good one to Brett Boone? You might be sitting down right now on the top of your order starting to swing the bat rather than having to worry about getting this guy out.
And that's too low. Well, I mean, did he outsmart himself? I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, it's not really hittable when it's well thrown. I mean, not easily hittable anyway.
Well, remember, he said before the game he's lost that pitch. He didn't have it anymore.
I've only seen him throwing it. That's a good point. He's only thrown probably 9 or 10 good ones today. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's Smoltz who singled at second base. Boone who singled at first base. Ready to go in anything with 2 down. Chipper Jones trying to move him. Chipper with 2 hits in 10 at-bats for the series. Plus 5 walks. Splitter. Strike. 2-2. Now he did well to take that pitch.
Why swing at something that you most of the time can't hit?
And I think he was hopeful it would dip out of the strike zone. Tries it again. There's Biggio. And the inning is over. The Braves lead 2. The innings now starting to run out on the Astros. The top of the order, Biggio, Javier, and Bagwell. John Miller and Rick Sutcliffe from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The Atlanta Braves hoping to stage a celebration after this one, and they are leading 2-0. If they can hold that lead, they will have won the division series. Walt Weiss now in at shortstop for defensive purposes. I think the reason is obvious. Here's what happened yesterday. This was a game-saving play with the bases loaded in the 10th inning. Caminetti out at the plate on a ball hit by Eusebio. Weiss is one of the outstanding defensive shortstops in the game. Craig Biggio, top of the order for the Astros.
Everything about that play was amazing. To get to the ball, to knock it down, and then to off balance make a throw that was catchable. You got Caminetti hustling down the line, the crowd going crazy. He might be the MVP of this series right now on one play.
Well, if he doesn't make that play, then the Braves are playing for survival today. I mean, that saved the game at that moment. Had it gotten past him, had he thrown wildly to home plate, the winning run would have scored. 1-2 to Biggio. Biggio is 0 for 2 in this game. 2 hits in 16 at-bats in the series. They get 2 for 17. The high fastball. And I don't know if I've ever heard that in the Astrodome before. A few boos for Craig Biggio.
It sounded like there were actually some boos for Larry Dierker when he was announced before the game. Just frustration right now, not only on the part of the fans, but on the players of the Braves and their manager as well.
Meanwhile, in New York, last of the 6th inning, Arizona 1, the Mets 1. Each team has hit a solo homer in that game. That's over on ESPN 2. Stan Javier takes a strike. He is singled down the left field line and then grounded out to third. The Astros had shots to score in the first 2 innings of this game, but were unable to get that one big hit. They left the bases loaded in the first, and then Javier left runners at first and third with his ground out in the second. Javier 1 for 2. Jeff Bagwell on deck. Well, Craig Biggio, the man who ignites this offense at the top of the order, the man who gets on base, he steals bases, gets himself into scoring position, shut down in this series as Javier is called out on strikes for out number 2. Bagwell will come up, but with the bases empty. John Smoltz is starting to make it look easy.
Yeah, back in August of 1987, Atlanta Braves made a trade with the Detroit Tigers for Doyle Alexander for John Smoltz. Smoltz was in Double-A with Detroit, 4-10 with a 5.68 ERA. Somebody obviously saw something.
Slider pulled foul. Well, Alexander helped the Tigers win a division title that year, but Smoltz has helped Atlanta for more than a whole decade.
Well, you feel sorry for Alexander's name always being brought up like that. How about Larry Anderson? Back in '90, he was traded for Bagwell.
Jeff Bagwell in the Red Sox farm system, and Larry Anderson now a broadcaster with the Philadelphia Phillies. Sox thought they needed some bullpen help for the stretch run, and Bagwell went to Houston to become a star.
Bagwell was in Double-A that year, 480 at bats. He only hit 4 home runs. Who would have ever thought it?
Not the Red Sox. Just missing with a fastball. 1-2. Well, Smoltz had those 2 troubling innings to start the game. He got through them, but these last 3 innings he is starting to cut them down. It's off the outside. 2-2. He got Bagwell, Everett, and Caminetti, the 3 power hitters in the Astros lineup, in succession in the 3rd inning. And now he struck out Biggio and Javier in front of Bagwell here. 2-2 to Bagwell. The slider. Whoa, man. Smoltz thought he had him. He thought he had him a couple of times in this sequence.
The Muth might have got fooled a little bit right there. Normally that breaking ball of Smoltz would have gone down. It doesn't go down much anymore. It just kind of flattens out. Smoltz thought he had strike 3 there.
So Bagwell may have gotten a break. That one into right center. Easy play for Jordan. And there is frustration from the Astros fans. 2-0 going to the 6th.
ESPN's coverage of the divisional playoffs is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes. For the dealer nearest you, call 1-800-359-BOOT. And by Hyundai. Every Hyundai is backed by America's best warranty with 10 years powertrain coverage.
The Houston Astrodome. Game 4. And the Atlanta Braves maintain a 2-0 lead as we move to the 6th inning. Brian Jordan, who has certainly been their MVP of this series up till now. Yesterday, he did something that had never been done in a postseason game in Major League history. Never before had anybody driven in more than 4 runs in a game where those were his team's only runs. Jordan drove in all 5 of the Braves runs yesterday. Back at Reynolds, off his glove. The pickup by Caminetti, but no play on the speedy Jordan, and Jordan has his 2nd hit of this game and his 8th hit of this series.
When they talk about offensive numbers, a lot of times, John, they'll take the number of RBIs and the number of runs scored. You add that together, subtract the home runs because you don't want to count them twice. Speaking of home runs, there's a 3-run homer yesterday, but you come up with a pretty good idea of how productive a guy is offensively. If that number is 150, you've got a pretty good offensive player. Well, doing the math, you add up Chipper Jones, he comes up to 181. That's a good offensive player. You do the math on Brian Jordan this year, 192. So he has provided more offense for the Braves than Chipper Jones has.
It's actual runs produced for a ball club in a season.
His average not quite as high as Chipper's was.
Chris Holt, a right-hander, up in the Astros bullpen. 8 hits now for Atlanta. Ryan Klesko, the hitter. Vern Rule, having conversed with Shane Reynolds on the mound, goes back to the dugout. And they're getting up to that part of the game where they begin to feel like Shane Reynolds might be about to hit the wall, especially on only 3 days of rest. Ball 1 to Klesko on the outside, and they're at the part of the game now where they cannot afford to fall any further behind. Not with John Smoltz just breezing along now. 2-0 Atlanta in the top of the 6th. Klesko has walked and struck out today. The splitter And a turf hit into right field. And Jordan's going to go for third. He stopped for a moment and then accelerated, and he may have deked Javier into believing that he wasn't going to go. So he makes it in there easily.
John, you're exactly right, and there's no reason to be deked in that situation. Javier's only got one responsibility: come in, catch the ball, and make an accurate throw to third. Don't guess whether the guy's going to go or whether he's not going. You do your job. That doesn't matter. Look at him right here. He kind of hesitates. Come get the ball and make the throw. Don't hesitate. That's a big, big run right there in a situation that shouldn't have happened. Jordan was going to stay there.
So the base hit, the big bouncer on the turf by Klesko, is the end of Shane Reynolds. 2 men on, nobody out. Andrew Jones coming up. Holt coming in. And here we are now, and the Astros need some heroic measures here from Chris Holt. Runners at first and third, nobody out. The dangerous Andrew Jones at the plate. Andrew is 0 for 2 in this game. The middle infield is in double play depth. They're willing to give up this third run to get the double play. The bloop over the head of Bogart. That's a base hit into left center field. Coming in to score is Jordan, and then the ball gets through. Klesko goes to third, and into second, Andrew Jones. And then the throw gets through even there, and the fans are angry. It is 3-0 Atlanta, and the Braves suddenly starting to, or the Astros starting to crumble.
Well, the reason Darrell Ward wasn't in the lineup this afternoon was because they wanted better defense. Well, there's a little lapse on the right fielder who was playing in a position Ward could have played. They got the runner to third. Now right here, the left fielder just takes his eyes off the ball for a second. He didn't know if Klesko was going to third or not. Could have stayed on the baseball, fielded it, and thrown to third, and not had to have guessed.
Holt is coming in here and has gotten everything high in the strike zone. Eddie Perez swinging at one that goes back out of play. Perez 1 for 2 in the game. Now the infield is in. Klesko at third, Andrew Jones at second. An error charged to Billy Spires there for allowing the runners to advance an extra base. This would be a double play situation with runners at first and second. Now it is a very dire situation.
You mentioned everything Chris Holt throwing being up a little bit. He had a little bit of a problem with that during the season this year. 5 and 13. The opposition's batting average over 300 against him.
He had a 4.66 ERA. He did make 2 starts against Atlanta and pitched pretty well in both of those games. Well enough to have won both of them, but ended up with no decision. He was also the man that seemed to pitch whenever the Astros did not score. Off the fist's foul over toward Bobby Cox in the Atlanta dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Scott Ellerton up in the bullpen, the young right-hander of the Astros. 3-0 Atlanta. Shane Reynolds went 5 innings plus so far, charged with 3 runs, 9 hits. The runner at third, Klesko, belongs to him. Andrew Jones at second. Everything going wrong for the Astros now. 1-2 the count. Right back and off Holt and through the middle. Klesko scores. Andrew Jones around third, and he scores. It is 5-0. Meanwhile, as the Braves start to break it open, here's an update with Bill Pito.
All right, John, Mets and D-backs over on ESPN2. 1-1 game in the 6th inning. Benny Agbayani to start today in right field because Brian Anderson's a lefty. Comes through to the wall. That scores Ricky Henderson. And the Mets threatening second and third right now with 2 outs, still batting the bottom of the 6th.
And later today at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox, Game 3, the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox from Fenway Park. And then at 7:30 tonight Eastern time, 6:30 Central, Game 3, the Yankees and the Rangers. Roger Clemens on the mound against Esteban Loaiza for the ballpark in Arlington. Everything could be determined today in these division playoffs. Walt Weiss up for the first time, hitting a foul. 4 straight hits in this inning for Atlanta. 1 ball, 1 strike. Remember, SportsCenter will have coverage of everything going on in these division series playoffs today. As just great coverage last night when I got back to the hotel of this ball game. Real in-depth, every aspect of the game, and there were like 20 different things to examine in that ball game that could have turned it around. Big plays, kind of subtle plays, and they had it all with the interviews and the reactions and the analysis on SportsCenter. 2-2 to Weiss. Another base hit. Yeah, they are finding the holes now. So Chris Holt is not able to provide what they had hoped for. He has come on out of the bullpen, faced 3 hitters, and 3 in a row have gotten base hits against him. None has hit the ball hard. We're talking about a bloop, a near comebacker, and now a bounding ball.
Really, the only mistake that he's made was not fielding that comebacker. It's a play he could have made. He didn't. And it looks like it's going to be the end of the afternoon for him.
John Smoltz coming up. John Smoltz has been a big hitter today with 2 for 2, a single and a double. And Larry Dierker is going to bring in Scott Ellerton to face him when we come back. A swinging strike by John Smoltz. The Astros expecting bunt with 2 men on and nobody out. Atlanta leading 5-0. Scott Ellerton takes over the hill. But Smoltz, who already has a double and a single in this game, was not bunting.
Guy's 2 for 2 already. Bobby Cox thought, well, we'll let him take a swing. I would imagine the bunt's probably on now.
Showing bunt but taking. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think for a couple of reasons you sacrifice in this situation. Most importantly, get your starting pitcher back on the bench. Let him rest. You don't want him on the bases for an extended period of time. It's more important for him to be healthy and strong going out there for the bottom of the 6th to pitch.
So Eddie Perez, the runner at second, is a very, very slow runner with the bad knees. It is a force out at third base. It better be a very good bunt if it's going to work. 2-1 though, as Ellerton suddenly, with Smoltz showing bunt, can't find the strike zone.
And he was showing bunt early. If they're going to give you an out, go ahead and take it. He did not do that, and now you run behind in the count. Smoltz could probably swing the bat if he wanted.
There's the bunt, and he did it perfectly, making Caminetti field the ball. Biggio covering at first. The runners have been moved over. Perez to third, Weiss to second. That is the first out of the inning after 5 consecutive singles by the Braves, who have been singling the Astros to death today.
Perfect textbook bunt right there on the part of John Smoltz. You simply, on a sacrifice, just have your bat at the highest strike, have it angled in the direction you want it to go, and just catch the baseball with the bat. That's all you've got to do. Smoltz doing it perfectly.
The infield is in. Gerald Williams with the score already 5-0 Atlanta. Nearly a wild pitch. Nice save there by Eusebio. Hard slider bouncing in the dirt on the outside.
Ellerton's had trouble with that off-speed pitch the last couple of weeks of the season. He's got some bicep tendonitis in his arm. He's not at 100%. Had he been at 100%, he probably would have started the first game of the series. They really don't have a 4th starter. I think that trade they made last year to bring Randy Johnson over here has not only hurt them last year, they didn't go as far in the playoffs as they wanted to, but it's hurting them this year.
Popped up foul and back out of play. Williams 1 for 2 with a sacrifice in this game.
When they made that deal with the Seattle Mariners to bring Johnson to Houston, they gave up 3 really good players. Freddie Garcia, John Halama, 2 starting pitchers that possibly could have been in the rotation for Houston this year, but they gave them up along with Carlos Guillen to bring the big unit here. The big unit did not get them past the divisional series, and I think they're still paying the price now.
Fastball in the hands, foul back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, Lou Piniella has said that he would not trade Freddie Garcia for Randy Johnson straight up today.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. Johnson makes a lot of money, and he's a lot older than Garcia is. This guy's future is tremendous.
Freddie Garcia won 17 games this year, his first full season in the big leagues. Another save on that slider in the dirt. In fact, he won the same number of games for the Mariners this year as Johnson won for Arizona. Billy Wagner. Don't expect to see him in there with the bad elbow.
That was a big test question for Larry Dierker before the game. Who are you going to close with if Wagner's not available? He just hopes he still has that question at the end of his game.
Pop-up foul down the right field line. Bagwell going out, but this one will drop back into the crowd. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Williams. 3 runs already in here for the Braves. They lead the game 5-0. Meanwhile, at Shea Stadium, the Mets have gone ahead 2-1. They're in the top of the 7th inning against Arizona. Al Leiter, who has been real sharp apparently in that ball game, carrying the lead into the 7th. Here's Scott Ellerton just trying to keep it from getting completely out of hand. On the fists, a pop foul. Caminetti over, runs out of room. A souvenir. 2-2. Brett Boone on deck.
A souvenir from what may be the last baseball game played here in the Astrodome. They call it the 8th wonder of the world. I remember coming to the ballpark with the Dodgers. They had a pitcher named Nolan Ryan that we thought was the 8th wonder of the world. We knew they could build another place like this. You're not going to build another Nolan Ryan.
The slider is blooped over the middle. What a bit of hitting there by Gerald Williams, and 2 more runs will score. Everett throws into first behind Williams, not in time. Perez and Weiss are in. The sacrifice bunt has helped create 2 more runs. That little bloop over center, I don't know, maybe somebody would have had a chance to get it. But the infield has been back in normal depth. It is 7-0 Atlanta, and they are starting to completely destroy the Astros.
Well, a lot of these runs are going to go on to the ERA of Shane Reynolds, but you got to have a lot of respect for what he's done in this playoff. This guy's 31 years old. He's come back on short rest for both of these starts and given everything he had. There are a lot of guys in his position, not a lot, but there are some 31 years of age that wouldn't have done that. They're not going to take a chance on hurting their arm, hurting their career. They would have gotten selfish. This guy gladly took it upon himself. He was able to win game 1. He wasn't as lucky here this afternoon.
Brett Boone, the 8th hitter of the inning. Back to the screen. Boone is 2 for 3 with a run batted in. 5 runs are in for Atlanta. 7-0 the score. They have put this rally together with 6 singles, and that base hit by Williams was about as impressive as any of the hits have been. I mean, an amazing array of bouncers and bloops and bleeders through there. They have been finding the holes. This is not what you come to expect from Atlanta's offense over the years. From Atlanta, you expect great pitching and those big, well-timed 3-run homers. It's been their formula. And a changeup swung on and missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes by Brett Boone. Now the Astrodome anointed the 8th wonder of the world by Judge Roy Hoffheinz, who was sort of the mastermind behind building the whole thing. Bob Hope, when he first saw the Astrodome, because it truly was a wonder. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. Bob Hope came in here and he said if they had a nursery and a cemetery, you'd never have to leave. The Reverend Billy Graham called it a tribute to the boundless imagination of man. The Houston Astrodome, which may close its doors, at least for professional sports, which has been its primary function all these years, after this game. Not quite. Stan Javier had a long run. Not quite. 2-2. I suppose, depending on your point of view, you might also say the Astrodome was the beginning of a lot of things that the baseball purists don't like in baseball. The artificial turf, exploding scoreboards. Off Eusebio. 2-2 the count. But there was a ball game early on in July of that first year. Jimmy Wynn moved under a high fly ball hit by Jim Ray Hart of the San Francisco Giants. He started calling for it, you know, tapping the glove. Then suddenly he couldn't see it. It was a day game. He was looking up into the skylights overhead, and the ball was not to be seen. Ellerton in the dirt. What a play by Bogart. Man, he saved the out there. Gerald Williams forced it second, and a great pickup by Tim Bogart. First thing has gone right for the Astros here in this inning.
Ellerton's a youngster, and this is a young ball player's mistake right here. There's really no reason to force this ball into second base. You've got the sure out, the easy out at first base. He tried to hurry the throw, and Tim Bogart has just done everything right for Houston, a ball club that as a whole has not done a whole lot of things right in this series.
Chipper Jones now. He's 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly, a run batted in. 7-0 the Astros lead. Chipper fouls it out of play. Well, anyway, Jimmy Wynn all of a sudden couldn't see that high fly ball hit by Jim Ray Hart, and it went for an inside the park 3-run homer. The Giants won the game on that 3-run homer 5-2. So they painted over all those panels, thousands of them, and then the grass died. They started painting the dirt green just to make it look like grass was out there, and of course that led to AstroTurf, which has been plaguing baseball ever since. 0-2 the count. Although I always thought the Kansas City Royals in the days of George Brett and Hal McRae, I thought they enjoyed it. They certainly played well on it. Too low to Chipper Jones. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You go out and walk on this AstroTurf here at the Dome, and it's almost like walking on pavement. It's so hard, and hard for me to believe that Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell have played their careers here and played as many games as they have. 162 games this year for Bagwell, 160 for Biggio, and they do it pretty much every year. I asked him why they don't take a day off once in a while, and Biggio says, we're so lucky. He said, I know it's a long year, 162 games, it's the dog days and what have you, but he says, I work a 3-hour day. That's not all bad.
3-2 now to Chipper Jones. It had been 0-2. Well, it's you like the attitude.
Yeah.
And again, it's hard to imagine two of the best players in the game and well respected by all other players, Biggio and Bagwell, under the glare of the postseason and not producing. I mean, I think it's hard to see this happening to them, because in the long haul, year after year, I mean, these guys are as productive as any 2 players on any team in baseball, more so. The heart and soul of this Astros club. But in the postseason, a combined 9 hits in 77 at bats. Bagwell only 4 RBIs. And a lot of that has been applied by the great pitching staff of the Atlanta Braves. Right up the middle, another base hit, finding a hole. Boone will go to third. Chipper Jones, the 9th hitter of the inning and the 7th single of the inning. This is amazing. The man who started the inning with an infield single off the glove of Shane Reynolds is coming up now.
Chipper Jones starting to get things going himself offensively. Picked up an RBI earlier today, a sacrifice that got things going in the top of the 1st, and he continues the onslaught here in the top of the 6th inning.
Ryan Jordan hit the ball off the glove of Shane Reynolds. That's how this all got started. Later in the inning, there was a ball off the glove of Chris Holt that kept the inning going. A little bloop into shallow left center that brought the infield in after an error by Bill Spires out there. And then, because the infield had to come in as a result of the error, a little bloop right over the middle by Gerald Williams. Vern Rule on the way to the mound to talk to Scott Ellerton. We're in the Astrodome, and perhaps for the final time here today, Gene Elston, the original voice of the Astros back in 1965, was very excited in this promotional film about the 8th wonder of the world.
This is the Astrodome, the attraction of unsurpassed entertainment in the world's largest completely air-conditioned and most flexible stadium, designed with your comfort, safety, and enjoyment in mind. The Astrodome, truly the 8th wonder of the world.
Howdy, y'all. 2-1 the count now to Brian Jordan. Runners at first and third, 2 down. And of course, in the original configuration, that it had the most gigantic scoreboard and animation board ever seen in the world out there. They rebuilt the ballpark to accommodate the old Houston Oilers at one point to add more seats, and the old scoreboard out there disappeared. But when the Astros would hit a home run, this longhorn steer would appear out there and start jumping around all across the Astrodome wall. But at long last, this inning is over, and we'll see if the season is soon to be over for the Astros. With Atlanta leading 7-0, moving to the last half of the 6th inning, Brian Hunter, the best defensive first baseman, has come into the game, replacing Ryan Klesko. Carl Everett leads off for the Astros against John Smoltz. And John Smoltz, once again, as he has so many times before, turning a big playoff game in front of the big crowds and national television into his own personal showcase. I mean, the big game, and John Smoltz is your man. He's the go-to guy. 2 years ago in this ballpark, in the clinching game, a complete game 3-hitter against the Astros. And it is 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Everett as he bluffed the bunt. Everett is hit into a force play and struck out. Caminetti and Spires will follow. John Smoltz, through 5 innings today, has a 3-hitter going. 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. A soaring fly ball. Right center. Jordan. And there is 1 away. Well, John Smoltz certainly has many great playoff memories, but perhaps his fondest memory is that playoff game at the Astrodome 2 years ago. Here's what he told us.
Knowing if you win, you're done with that series, or you can move on. That is the ultimate. You know, I've pitched in every situation possible, and that clinching game, to me, was the best I was able to pitch. I knew every pitch I wanted to throw. I mean, I don't go through those periods too many times. I don't think I had one bad pitch that I felt like I threw. And you know, when you throw 120-some pitches, you're always going to throw some bad pitches. This was an extraordinary game for me, and I closed it out, which is always fun.
0-2 to Caminetti. 1 out, nobody on. Interesting comments about that ball game. Not one bad pitch in the 9-inning game.
You know, Kevin Millwood said the same thing about the second game of this series. He didn't think it was a bad pitch to Caminetti. It was a fastball down. He said, you just got to tip your hat to Caminetti. He beat me on that pitch. Other than that, though, he was tremendous.
1-2. And a changeup. Now, that was a soft one. What's he... if I didn't know better, I think he just became a knuckleballer on us here.
He's inventing things right now. I think you might be right. I think it might have been a knuckleball.
In center field, Andrew Jones. Out number 2. He could be the first knuckleballer ever to throw 95 miles an hour at the same time. Well, this is back in 1997, the old over-the-top John Smoltz.
Look at the downward tilt on that breaking ball. You saw Craig Biggio once again lining out to the second baseman. He did that twice yesterday.
Well, this Atlanta ball club has got to be a hitter's worst nightmare in postseason play. And when you only face their very best, who always seem to be at their very best. And that changeup misses low and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Chris Spires, who's 0 for 2 against Smoltz here. John Smoltz is on a roll now. They had their chance to get to him in the first inning, but could not do it. Jordan. And it's starting to look like just a matter of time now. We're heading to the 7th inning. Atlanta 7, Houston nothing. The Atlanta Braves are hoping to celebrate right here in the Astrodome. That would be their idea of a great way to close the dome. And they are on their way to doing it, it would seem. They are leading 7-0 back of their ace, John Smoltz, who is once again stifling the Astros in their home ballpark. Bobby Cox, who pulled out everything yesterday. As Cox said after the ball game, he said, we were throwing out the entire package, and it went our way. And indeed it did. He says, I don't think I'll ever be in another game like that. And I mean, just an incredible day. So many things happened, so many things that could have gone wrong for the Braves yesterday, but they prevailed. And for the Astros, perhaps more than this game, there'll be a lot of moments in yesterday's game that will haunt the Astros during a long winter.
Their third base coach, Ned Yost, said before the game, we knew that Game 3 was pivotal, but we didn't have to have it. He says it's so much easier to sleep at night when you know you got Smoltz coming back in Game 4 and you got Maddox waiting for Game 5.
Ellerton to Hunter, and that is ball 1. Well, indeed, I mean, yesterday was a huge must-win for the Astros, and obviously Bobby Cox played it that way as manager of the Braves, but the Braves always had that little extra security blanket.
Look at the 6th inning for Atlanta. They scored 5 runs. They didn't hit one ball as hard as Tony Eusebio's ball, and yet his goes as a fielder's choice. A great play by Walt Weiss, and Atlanta comes up with 5 runs.
In New York, the Mets holding a 2-1 lead over Arizona in the top of the 8th inning. That game being seen over on ESPN2, but the Arizona with a threat in the 8th inning. 2 men on, 2 men out, and Armando Benitez, who has just had an awesome year out of the Mets bullpen this year, is on the pitch there to try and get out of a jam in the 8th inning. Al Leiter went 7 2/3, gave up only 3 hits today after his 2-hit shutout last Monday night in the tiebreaker that got the Mets here in the first place. Now, as we see, Walt Weiss, who made that game-saving and maybe series-saving play yesterday, as Hunter fouls it out of play. 3 balls, 2 strikes. As strong as the Mets are playing right now, as strongly as well as they're playing against a very strong Arizona ball club. As we're talking about that Weiss play, let's have another look. Could have been the game, but Walt Weiss plugged up that hole amazingly. 3-2, and Ken Caminetti said the best play he's ever seen. And surely when you add up the situation, the significance of the game, of the play, when you add the whole package together, when have you ever seen a better one? Well, Brian Hunter hits the deck as he gets the walk. Meanwhile, the best laid plans of Bobby Valentine have gone awry. Armando Benitez on to face Jay Bell, who's having the year of his life, and Jay Bell has hit a 2-run double into the left field corner off the wall. It was almost a home run. And so Arizona, battling for its life, is now leading the Mets in the 8th inning. 3-2 there. Andrew Jones lifts the pop up. Biggio, and that is out number 1 in the 7th inning. Here's an update with Bill Pito.
All right, John, you were talking about it over on ESPN2. Mets and D-backs. Armando Benitez just out of the bullpen trying to protect the 1-run lead. There's 2 out. Jay Bell, the batter to left. Melvin Moore trying to get there. Can't get there. Off the wall. 2 runs scored. D-backs now up 3-2. Still batting the top of the 8th.
All right, Bill, thank you. That's just moments ago at Shea Stadium. Armando Benitez gets roughed up by Jay Bell.
About all those people that criticized the Diamondbacks for signing Jay Bell last year. Kind of quiet now, aren't they?
Yeah. Although I'm not sure that the Diamondbacks were predicting when they signed him that he'd hit 38 home runs in his 2nd year with him. He'd never hit more than 21 before, but Jay Bell, and he says he's enjoying every minute of it. He never had a year like this. and it's the best time he's ever had. Eddie Perez, 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 on in the 7th inning. 7-0 the score here. Atlanta with things well in control. John Smoltz between innings took his shoe off, his right shoe. Trainer taped up his right foot for him, and he's just getting the shoe back on now. Little between innings upkeep on that right foot.
Hard to believe that he could be developing blisters on that right toe right now. That's the foot that he pushes off with. Been pitching most of the year and not had a problem with that. It might have come from all the base running that he's done. On base a couple of times, a double, a single.
And he's in the hole right now. Eddie Perez, the hitter. Walt Weiss on deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Perez, who is 2 for 3 in this game. Perez got a big hit in the 6th inning that for a moment looked like a comebacker to Chris Holt, but Holt could not grab the ball. It bounced away from him and threw, and 2 runs scored on the play. And he struck him out with a big curveball. Nice pitch by Ellerton. 2 down.
Ellerton with a pretty good breaking ball right there, down and away, and it's going to be effective when you got a guy that throws normally in the mid-90s. He came out of the bullpen to start the year for Houston, and this guy had a great fastball. They put him into the rotation, and the velocity on that fastball went down.
Walt Weiss, foul ball down the right field line. Weiss got a base hit in his first at bat in the 6th inning. Part of that 5-run game-breaking rally by the Atlanta Braves. They lead 7-0 here in the 7th. Meanwhile, at Shea Stadium, Mel Mora, on in relief of Ricky Henderson in left field, cut down Jay Bell trying to score on a base hit to left. He threw him out at the plate. So the big play in New York. Ricky Henderson never threw out a runner on the bases the whole season. Mel Mora in. He nails Jay Bell at the plate. So Arizona nearly going ahead 4-2, but the Mets, that great defense, does the job again. Although I think Edgardo Alfonso booted one in that inning to help the Diamondbacks start that 2-run rally. It's 3-2 Arizona, going to the last of the 8th inning now at Shea Stadium over on ESPN2.
An error on the part of anybody in that Mets infield has got to send them into a state of shock.
I'm shocked. Edgardo apparently just becoming a big home run and RBI man now, who can't field anymore.
Yeah.
I hear he's made 1 error in the last 2 months now.
What do you make, 5 all year long?
I think that's right. 2-2 the count. The backdoor curveball that misses. He made 5. Ordonez made 4. The 2 of them combined, the double play combination combined, made only 9 errors the whole year. 3-2 the count to Walt Weiss. 2 down. Runner goes, and Weiss is down on strikes. Foul tipping the ball into Eusebio's glove. Last of the 7th inning, the Astros running out of outs. 7-0 Atlanta. Atlanta 7, the Astros nothing. For Atlanta, at stake, a move to the next round of the playoffs as Tony Eusebio hits one deep to left field. It is gone. The first run of the game for the Astros, a Eusebio home run. It is 7-1 now, Atlanta. So Eusebio scores here. Here's an update now from New York with Bill Pito.
All right, John, on ESPN2, the play at the plate between the Mets and D-backs that you were talking about. Matt Williams base hit to left. Melvin Moore out there for his defense in place of Ricky Henderson. Jay Bell trying to put the D-backs up 2. He's out. So it remains 3-2 D-backs. Mets now up bottom 8.
Close play there at the plate in New York, and a big call. It went the Mets' way. I don't think Jay Bell was very happy about that call. And it was Todd Pratt who made the tag of the plate rather than Mike Piazza, who's missing from the lineup again with that thumb injury. Today it looks like they're missing his bat from that lineup a little more than last night when they put 9 runs up. 1-2 the count to Tim Bogar, who's had 2 hits against John Smoltz, 2 of the 4 Astros hits. That slider to center field, going back. Andrew Jones still going back, and he gets there. Center field at the Astrodome is still and always was the place where long fly balls go to die.
Particularly when you got a guy like this playing center field for you. Maddox says that on every day, Andrew Jones saves him 1 run a ball game defensively. On a good day for him, he'll save him 3 or 4. And that ball's almost to the warning track. He gets there easily.
Now Russ Johnson will come up as a pinch hitter for the Astros. Andrew Jones, a great young talent, still learning the game for Atlanta. Here's a guy that the Astros think a lot of, Russ Johnson out of LSU. Ken Caminiti was pointing him out before the game. He says Russ Johnson is one of the great undiscovered secrets in the game. He could be a budding all-star second baseman for a lot of teams right now, he's saying. He's got a lot of pop in his bat. If he got a chance to play every day, you might have one of the top young players in the game. But on this ball club, the problem is where to play him. He had a big hit yesterday. His pinch hit double in the 7th started a rally for the Astros that tied that ball game. Both teams' bullpens are busy. Johnson batting for Scott Ellerton. That is called a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There is Trevor Miller in the Astros bullpen getting ready for the 8th inning. Slider just off the corner. 3-2. 90 pitches thrown by John Smoltz today. He's in the 7th. 3-2 to Russ Johnson. And he walks. First walk since the 1st inning allowed by Smoltz. In the Atlanta bullpen getting ready here. Bobby Cox will keep a close eye on him. He's given up a home run in this inning.
Well, the offense of the Houston Astros could not do anything to get this crowd on their feet and going this afternoon, so they had to wait till the 7th inning stretch. They played some music. Everybody got up. They got up again on the home run by Eusebio. They're hoping to do it more than that.
Craig Biggio, the man who's just on base all the time, igniting the offense during the regular year. But in this series, Biggio, 2 hits, 17 at bats, and only 1 walk. He's only been on base 3 times the entire series.
He scored 628 runs during the regular season the last 5 years. Amazing. And yet he's only been able to score 1 in this series.
It's a strike on the outside. 2-1. He had 56 doubles this year. One of the highest doubles totals in decades in the game. Called a strike on the outside. 2-2 to Biggio.
Borderline, possibly low. The only reason it's even considered a strike is the great hands of Perez back there behind home plate. Instead of taking that ball down even further, he holds it right there, and the time will elevate it for a better look.
The short could be 2. There's 1 back to first. Not in time. Well, nearly an amazing double play turn there by Brett Boone at second base.
Almost like that baseball was a hot potato. It did not stay in Boone's glove very long, nor was it in the hands of the shortstop, Walt Weiss. They knew they couldn't. Look how quick it's out of there. Boom, get rid of it. Gone. That's all I can do. If it ain't enough, well, we'll have to let one more guy come to home plate.
Look at that feed right there. Stan Javier, 2 down. Biggio aboard into the hole. There goes Weiss. Back to Boone. Weiss is just the wrong guy to hit it to. Top of the 8th inning coming up. 7-1 Atlanta. The Atlanta Braves 7, the Houston Astros 1. In what could be the deciding game of this National League Division Series. Here's the New Era Sports Caps in-game box score for Atlanta. A lot of hits up at the top of the order. 2 more hits for Brian Jordan, and quite a few hits at the bottom of the order. Just a lot of hits, period, for the Braves, including 2 doubles and 12 singles. They put 7 runs on the board today without benefit of a single. Big fly. Trevor Miller on to pitch now for the Astros, and John Smoltz is the hitter. He's had a double and scored a run. He has had a single, and he's had a sacrifice bunt that helped set up a couple of runs. Trevor Miller, the 4th Astros pitcher of the game. 1 ball, 1 strike. 7-1. Atlanta is leading. The Astrodome. 1965 it opened, and there were some critics because this was the first dome. There'd never been a dome built in the world over a structure this big. It's a swing and a miss, and some critics and even some engineers warned that the roof might collapse if ever there was a crowd of 50,000 fans who maxed out, you know, with a huge roar. You know, like they thought it would come tumbling down like the walls of Jericho in the Bible. And so, duly warned, when they had the opening night game and the huge crowd was gathering, a few of the Houston players at that time decided to have their wives and kids stay home just in case they were right. But obviously they've rocked this place many times over the years, and the dome has been able to stand all the while.
Well, the one nice thing about it is it gets so hot down here during the summer, it makes it a lot more comfortable to play. 162 game season, 81 home games in conditions like this.
And they're so hot, so humid, so oppressive. The Smoltz was called out on strikes, and he had a quick word for Dana DeMuth on that call. He's had quite a few words with Dana DeMuth today.
I don't know why he's arguing right now. I've seen a lot of guys in this situation that don't even bother swinging the bat. They're just happy to get back. They know their job is to get 6 more outs as a pitcher. Not worry about getting on base there, but Smoltz the ultimate competitor.
Well, when they used to hit a home run, the scoreboard of the Astrodome went nuts. And they had the grounds crew dressed like men from outer space.
And back then, to hit a home run in this ballpark, you had to hit it. Look at that.
It was 340 to the foul poles down the left and right field lines, and you had to hit it up into the orange seats out there to get a home run, and that was a blast. Gerald Williams, 2 more hits, a run scored, 2 RBIs in this one. Now you see those seats above the advertising panels up there. You had to hit it up there, and it was 340 feet to get it there. So it was a real tough place to hit a home run in those days, and all the more amazing that Jimmy Wynn, and I think Jimmy Wynn was 5 feet 7 inches tall, but enormously powerful. Jimmy Wynn hit 37 home runs for the Astros in 1967. Brian Jordan, his home run yesterday would have been a home run in the old configuration. I mean, that was just a shot. Look out, the bat heading down the left field line. And a foul ball by Jordan. 2-2 the count.
If I remember right, didn't Jimmy Wynn hit a couple of balls into the upper deck down that left field line?
Yes, he did. In fact, our Mark Payton, our director, who practically grew up in the Astrodome, he hit it up there. That's quite a shot. Didn't hit him up there every day. Meanwhile, the Arizona Diamondbacks made a defensive change in the 8th inning, and it may have worked against them in New York. That's a catch at third base. Nice play by Ken Caminetti on the bloop by Gerald Williams. 2 down. 2 down. Nobody on him. Brett Boone coming up. Boone has had 2 hits today, 2 for 4. It was so hot, so humid. I mean, it is. But they used to play outdoors here at the old Colt 45 Stadium in what is now the parking lot of the Astrodome. And Rusty Staub recalls when and Staub was 19 years old at the time. They were in the middle of the summer playing the Cubs, you know, and Ernie Banks, the original, hey, let's play 2. And Staub recalled that they played 2 at the old ballpark outdoors, and they had to carry Ernie off the field on a stretcher. So Boone is aboard. 15th hit for Atlanta, the 13th single.
That's hard for me to imagine. I've never seen Ernie Banks when he wasn't smiling, but I don't imagine he had much of a smile on his face then.
Well, they had the sweltering humidity, and they had mosquitoes. And I'm talking Texas-sized mosquitoes, Rick. So Mark Payton, who lives down here, says that those mosquitoes were old enough to vote. We're talking about mosquitoes who were considered Texas natives. Some had fought at the Alamo.
Everything's bigger here in Texas, huh?
It's Texas. It's big. So an indoor stadium was more than just something they thought would be neat.
They said you could set your hat down in the outfield and it would move because of the mosquitoes coming up out of the grass. I didn't know if I believed that. I'm starting to now.
Chipper Jones, the hitter. Chipper is 1 for 3 with a sacrifice fly today. He drove in the first run of the game. Atlanta is leading right now 7-1. Meanwhile, in New York, after a dropped fly ball by Tony Womack, who had been moved from shortstop to right field. Hanley Frias took over at shortstop. Apparently a move for defense, but Womack dropped a fly ball with a runner on. And now a sacrifice fly has been hit, and the Mets have tied that game with Arizona at 3 in the last of the 8th inning. Roger Cedeno drove in the tying run.
Still no activity down in the Atlanta Braves bullpen. John Smoltz led off here in the top of the 8th inning. Must have told Bobby Cox he wanted more.
Chipper Jones down on strikes after the wild pitch, moving Boone over. Boone is stranded. 7-1 here after 7.5. Here's Bill Pino with an update.
All right, John, you were talking about it. John Olerud, the batter, no out in the 8th. Mets down 1, runner on first. Tony Womack started the game at short, moved to right. That's where he normally plays. Looky here. Looky there, drops it. Runners then go to second and third. Roger Cedeno with a sac fly, tied up at 3. Back to Houston after this.
Jeff Bagwell takes ball 1 against John Smoltz, and could this be Jeff Bagwell's farewell to the Astrodome? It was not the plan, not today. Base hit. 3 infielders to the left side of second, and Jeff Bagwell gets his first hit of the day and his second hit of the series in 12 at-bats. Here is the New Era Sports Caps in-game box score. A lot of offers for the Astros today. They've only had 5 hits. None by Biggio. None by Efred. None by Caminetti. The only run, a Tony Eusebio home run in the 7th inning against John Smoltz. The Atlanta bullpen gets busy as Everett takes a strike. Carl Everett is 0 for 3 in this game, and he is 2 for 14 in the series after his breakout season. Terry Mulholland, the left-hander. Kevin McGlinchey, the right-hander, up in the bullpen. And quickly, Smoltz is ahead. No balls and 2 strikes.
If you wonder why Bobby Cox did not take John Smoltz out after the 7 innings of work, thinking that he had done his job, most of the time Bobby Cox will leave that decision to his starters. They know more about how they feel than I would by looking in at them. I go up, I check with them. Are you done? You want more? And for the most part, when they're honest with him, it has always seemed to work.
So 102 pitches in this one. That hit him. So Everett hit by the pitch. That puts 2 men on with nobody out. This is the first time in the game that they've had 2 men on with nobody out all day.
I'll tell you what, for the best of me, I can't understand what Carl Everett is mad about. He should thank John Smoltz right there.
They needed base runners.
Absolutely. Hadn't been on base all day.
Ken Caminetti. He smashes one high and deep to center field. Jones racing back all the way back to the wall. This one is off the wall. No, it's a home run. It came back, but it cleared the wall. A 3-run homer for Caminetti, and suddenly there is hope at the Astrodome. 7-4 Atlanta.
Pretty good fastball down and away. It was right where Eddie Perez wanted it. You could see the glove even go down and out of the zone. But Ken Caminetti is healthy. He takes this ball to the biggest part of the ballpark, and Houston's back in it.
Which is exactly why Everett should have been happy about getting on base. Mulholland coming in. We'll be right back. There's the veteran left-hander Terry Mulholland, who started the season with the Chicago Cubs, on to face Bill Spires. Very high for ball one. Mulholland used as both a starter and a reliever by both the Cubs and the Braves. I'm kind of surprised that Spires is still in there, because they have 3 right-handed hitters to whom they could go, including the veteran Derek Bell, who's had a lot of success against Mulholland in the past. They left Spires up there yesterday against left-hander Mike Renlinger. And Spires drove in the tying run with a base hit in the 7th. John Rocker, yesterday's winning pitcher. He got out of that incredible jam in the 10th inning, and he's back up, along with right-hander Kevin McGlinchey. And it is 3-1 to Bill Spires. Tony Eusebio, a right-handed hitter, is on deck.
John Rocker getting up down in the bullpen. They'll take a close look at him and his flexibility before they decide whether they're going to bring him in or not. If it takes him a long time to get up, they're not going to take a chance on his future by hurting his arm, bringing him back here. They'll try to close it out with somebody else. Bobby Cox knows the status of Billy Wagner.
Left center field, Andrew Jones. And that is the first out of the 8th inning. 3 runs in. The once 7-0 lead of the Braves is now 7-4.
John, I'm right there with you. I'm really surprised not to have seen Derek Bell in that situation. Larry Dierker and the Houston Astros are running out of outs. They've got 5 outs left. They got to figure out how to get at least 3 runs. Derek Bell with great numbers off Mulholland.
Eusebio, who homered his last time, and quickly it is 0-1. One ball, 1 strike. Well, the Astros have not exactly gotten themselves right back into the game, but they've gotten themselves in a position where they can start thinking about getting a couple of men on and then getting back into the game. 7-4. That is a base hit, left center field, into the alleyway. Cut off by Gerald Williams.
John, we talked about the defense of Walt Weiss yesterday, the range of Brett Boone, that also of Chipper Jones. One thing that sometimes goes unnoticed with the defense and the outfield of the Atlanta Braves, they got 3 guys that could play center field. That's normally the guy that has the most range. Look at Williams over there cutting that gap off. What could have been an extra base hit stays as a single and keeps the double play in order.
Tim Bogart just off the outside. Close pitch. Bogart, in his first postseason start, has had 2 hits in 3 at-bats. And he has had great success with Mulholland over the years. Bogart, 6 hits in 11 career at-bats against this left-hander, a .545 average. 1 out, 1 on in the 8th inning. Derek Bell has come out on deck. Left center field, racing back, Gerald Williams, still going back, and it's going to be over his head, up against the wall. Eusebio lumbering around third, heading home, and he scores standing up. A double for Bogart. suddenly they are back in the game.
Jeff Bagwell, who started this rally here in the bottom of the 8th inning, said, "This is our house. We don't want it to end here. We want to go to Atlanta. We're packed. The plane's ready. All we got to do is win this ball game." Houston's making a run at it.
Now Bobby Cox, with Derek Bell having been officially entered into the game, will bring in his right-hander, Kevin McGlinchey. McGlinchey, the only pitcher who did not work yesterday out of the bullpen in the 12-inning game. 7-5. We'll be back.
Bill Pito back in the studio. Diamondbacks Mets tied up at 3 in the 8th with 2 out. Darrell Hamilton with the go-ahead run on second. To left, fair foul. Charlie Williams called it foul, and you know what? It looked like it was the right call. Cookie Rojas thought it was fair. He's the Mets' third base coach. He thought it was fair, and he was thrown out. He bumped Williams. Bobby Valentine now coaching third.
Well, that is that's just not done. 7-5 to score here, coming back from a 7-0 deficit against the Atlanta Braves. Anytime, April, May, October, that's not done. Coming up next on ESPN at 4 o'clock Eastern, the PGA Michelob Championship at Kings Mill. Third-round coverage. Stay tuned for that. Kevin McGlinchey, young right-hander, a native of New England, and he had a very strong year for the Braves. But he comes out in a tight spot, the spot that Bobby Cox did not want to use him in yesterday. There's Bogar at second base, and Darrell Ward, after Bell had been entered in as the pinch hitter for Miller. McGlinchey called into the game, and then Darrell Ward comes up. The very powerful left-handed swinger who homered against Greg Maddux in game 1 of this series, which proved to be the winning hit. He is the possible tying run here at the Astrodome. And this crowd, which has been quiet much of the day and unhappy the rest of the day with its own ball club, is now on its feet. Strike one to Darrell Ward. A couple of young players here, 2 rookies in a huge game. The Astros, who were down 7-0, are now down only 7-5. Biggio is on deck. 1 out. Now to play off to the left. Back toward him with a slider. McGlinchey got a pretty good arm.
He's got a real good arm. He's got a terrific fastball, a slider, but his output for the most part is a split-fingered fastball. His velocity will reach 97, 98 from time to time.
So we'll watch for that splitter, and maybe he'll use it here. 0-2 the count to Darrell Ward.
There it was right there. You could see the grip in the glove. He'll spread those fingers. He'll try to keep the same arm motion as that of the fastball. Good movement on that splitter, down and away from Ward. Ward able to lay off of it. These two guys are going to face each other a lot in the next 10 years.
Oh, man, it came right after him with a fastball, and Ward fouled it back. Is that his pitch to hit?
He's had a couple of good fastballs to hit. Look at this right here, man. Look how quiet that front foot is. Look where the head is.
1-2. Darrell Ward, the son of longtime major leaguer Gary Ward. Bogar at second. 1 out. That might have been the splitter. Fielded cleanly by Hunter. He was over hugging that foul line. Over to third, Bogar with 2 down. Here's another update from Bill Pito.
All right, John, we showed you the fair or foul controversy. Later on, bases loaded, 2 out. Ray Ordonez, the batter, against Matt Manti, still tied at 3. And he struck him out. So we are still tied at 3. We now head to the top of the 9th.
Here, the Astros are dreaming of being tied. They have trailed since the third batter of the game. And at one point they trailed 7-0. Now with a 4-run rally here in the 8th, they have made it 7-5. And Craig Biggio is coming up. They've got John Rocker up in the bullpen along with Mike Remlinger, 2 left-handers out there. And Bobby Cox is going to bring in, it looks like, John Rocker. So Rocker, who worked 2 innings yesterday, will come on with a runner at third, and Biggio at the plate. We'll be right back. Game 4 of the National League Division Series, the Braves and Astros. It looked like a walk in the park, or better said, a walk in the dome for the Braves. But now with a 4-run 8th, Bobby Cox has been forced to use his star closer, young John Rocker, who worked 2 difficult innings yesterday. I mean, Rick, he came out with the bases loaded and nobody out. He threw 27 pitches only in those 2 innings, but most of them were as high pressure a pitch as he has ever made in his career. There is Keith Lockhart now at second base. They made a double switch. Moon is out.
And every one of those pitches yesterday was maximum effort on the part of John Rocker. That takes a lot out of you. They kept a close eye on him down in the bullpen warming up. They watched him play catch before the game today during batting practice. His range of motion must have been what it normally is. 27 pitches, not a whole lot. But let's not forget, we're just in the bottom of the 8th inning here. He's going to have to come back for the 9th as well.
McGlinchey got the man out that he was called upon to get out. Now Rocker. Craig Biggio. He is 0 for 4 in this game. He is 2 for 18 in this series. He is looking for redemption. Fastball called a strike down at the knees. Biggio hit 16 home runs during the regular season. He's not your typical leadoff man. 16 homers and 56 doubles. They take either one right here. Just off the corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Biggio is hitless in his career against Rocker all of this year. He is 0 for 4. Yesterday he clobbered a ball, a liner, but right to Brett Boone at second base against Rocker in the 11th inning. There is Bogar at third base. Biggio trying to pick him up. The slider. 1-2. The Braves have that exaggerated infield defense. The defense all spread out, guarding the foul lines against the extra base hit. Jones deep at third, right there on the left side of the screen, and right along the line. Hunter well over toward the line, deep at first. So Biggio behind in the count, 1-2, and Rocker's showing some great pitches since coming in. Fastball hit hard but fouled into the camera position beyond the Astros dugout down the right field line.
Normally the way it happens when you're struggling, when you do hit the ball, you hit it hard, it's foul. You hit it hard, it's at somebody. And when you take a pitch, it's a strike. When you swing, it's something that's out of the zone.
Biggio has not driven in a run in this series. Very high. Trying to get a little extra on that fastball.
He did. You know what? He's shown me that he's got the ability not only to throw hard and he's talented, but he's got the ability to pitch as well. Biggio chased a breaking ball for the second strike. Rocker knew in the back of his mind he had to be thinking of that breaking ball. If you throw a breaking ball for a strike, it's going to start out up like that. Rocker tried to get him to chase that high fastball.
2-2. The slider for the strikeout. So John Rocker, for whom this inning may have been child's play after getting out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation yesterday in the 10th with the game on the line. This time merely a runner at third. He got through it. 7-5 Atlanta. Yeah, I don't know what this thing says here. Braves 7, Astros 5 as we go to the top of the 9th inning. And Atlanta now, suddenly, after losing much of a 7-run lead, needs more, perhaps. Coming up right after the ball game on ESPN, the PGA Michelob Championship at Kingsmill. It'll be third-round coverage. Mike Weir and Tom Byram with a lead at 6 under. There's Jay Powell on to pitch now for the Astros. Another Astros player who would like to redeem himself. A one-time World Series hero with the Florida Marlins just a couple of years ago. Brian Jordan. And there's that big home run cut. Jordan kind of shocked the Astrodome yesterday. Maybe even shocked his own manager, Bobby Cox. And I know you talked with him before the game. I think he shocked himself with that spectacular 3-run homer yesterday.
He was laughing at me because right before he hit it out, I said that the injury affected his power. He wasn't the power hitter he was earlier in the year.
Slow chop. He's got great speed. Bogart going to have to hurry. Here it is. He got it. And Bogart has had a perfect game. He's been hitting in the clutch, and he has made every play defensively out there.
And Jordan come up before the game, hugging me, laughing at me. He said, "Son, I know you're just starting your broadcasting career." He said, "That's all my fault. I'm the one that told you I didn't have any power, and I didn't think I did." He said, "I got a hanging breaking ball. I dropped the head of the bat on it, and even I couldn't believe how far it went."
Jay Powell to Brian Hunter. And of course, baseball is a game that is filled with twists and turns. But Jay Powell yesterday gave up the game-winning hit to Brian Jordan, and he comes back a day later, and who's the first guy to face him? Brian Jordan.
Pitched him a little bit different that time, though, than he did the time that Jordan beat him. He threw him a fastball up and out over the plate with 2 strikes, and Jordan just went with it. That time he ran that hard sinking fastball in onto the sore hands of Jordan and got the easy out.
Slider for a strike to Brian Hunter. Andrew Jones on deck.
You got to have a lot of respect for Jay Powell, though, and his endurance, his willingness to pitch all the time. A lot of appearances back in '97 for Florida. 65 some appearances last year. He led the Houston Astros in games this year.
Brian Hunter walked in his only other appearance at the plate. That was in the 7th inning. He changed up on it for the strikeout. Now, Powell does have a splitter. I don't know if that was it, but whatever it was very effective. 2 down.
He needs to get one more out, and you know that Jeff Bagwell is coming up in the bottom of the 9th inning, but with a 2-run lead, somebody's going to have to get on base before him. The guy scheduled to hit is Stan Javier.
And that's a strike called to Andrew Jones, who is 1 for 4. Ken Caminetti, who began his career as an Astro here in the Dome back in the 80s, would be due up 4th if they can get somebody on base. The slider popped up. Biggio backpedaling. So Powell retires the side in order. Is it the last game in the Astrodome, or is it yet another story to tell to the grandchildren? We'll find out soon. The Braves 7, the Astros 5 into the last of the 9th inning at the Astrodome. Coming up right after the ball game on ESPN, the PGA, the Michelob Championship at Kings Mill, 3rd round coverage. At 5:30 Eastern on ESPN, the Senior PGA, the Transamerica from Napa, California, 2nd round action. Right now, John Rocker needs 3 outs more to clinch this series for Atlanta. Give them an extra day of rest moving into the League Championship Series against either the Mets or the Diamondbacks, who are still playing at Shea in the last of the 9th inning, tied there. The Astros would not mind coming out of this inning tied here. After being down by 7 runs, it is now 7-5. If it turns out that this is the final game for Major League Baseball at the Astrodome, the Astrodome will have seen its home team go down battling. But that may not be the story they want to tell the future generations about this game. If Javier can get aboard, the greatest power hitter the Astrodome has ever seen in an Astros uniform will get a chance to tie the game. Big at bat for Javier, and he is usually very adept at getting on base. He's a good bunter. He has a discerning eye at the plate. He'll take a walk. 2-0. And again, John Rocker, 2 real tough innings yesterday. And a tough out already in this one in the 8th inning. And he's got a ways to go yet.
Well, as usual, the key to scoring is that leadoff guy. There hadn't been an inning all day today that anybody has scored where the leadoff man did not get on. Javier gets on. It's going to get real loud here in the Dome.
27 pitches yesterday. Bobby Cox said, hey, often he throws more than that in 1 inning. But he didn't have to throw, or doesn't ordinarily have to throw as many tough pitches because he inherited a bases loaded, nobody out situation with the game and maybe the series on the line in the 10th inning yesterday. He got out of it with considerable help from Walt Weiss. It is 2-1 to Javier. And 3-1.
'72 innings on the year for Rocker. 104 strikeouts. Only 47 hits allowed, but 37 base on balls. So almost as easy to walk off of him as it is to get a hit. I would imagine you're taking here.
He was, and it was in the strike zone. 3-2. Chet Bagwell on deck. The man the Astros want to have up there. They could hardly ask for more. After being down by 7, and to get Bagwell up there with a chance to tie the game in the 9th inning. Let's see if that is possible. He came after him with a high hard one, and Javier too close to take with 2 strikes.
Look at that pitch. 96 miles an hour. We talked about him throwing a couple of innings yesterday. I read an article earlier this year in ESPN magazine where John Rocker said he knew that he threw hard in Little League because all of the parents of the other kids he played with told their kids not to play catch with him. They didn't want him to get hurt.
Javier fights off another heater, 97 miles an hour, fouled off to the right. Well, now it's got to be fastball because he cannot, under any circumstances, afford to walk Javier. So he's got that great slider, which could be devastating in this spot. We've seen him devastate many hitters already. But I don't know, can he afford it?
I don't think so.
He walks him with the fastball. And Bagwell will get his shot.
Rocker knows who's coming up next. He can't be happy about that. And I tell you what, one swing of the bat right here by Jeff Bagwell, and this series all of a sudden could go to the Houston Astros. Maddox pitched yesterday. Millwood pitched yesterday. Rocker 2 days in a row. The Atlanta Braves may not have a whole lot left tomorrow in Atlanta if Houston can get there.
Bagwell, if you're an optimist, you'd say, man, Bagwell is due in the postseason. Man, came after him, and Bagwell just did get a piece of it. Bagwell has not driven in a run in this series. He has had 2 hits, 10 at-bats.
97-mile-an-hour fastball. Right down the middle. Just not quite able to get to it. Now what happens is you can't quite be as aggressive as Bagwell was on that first pitch. You've got to respect the breaking ball. Yesterday with the bases loaded, nobody out, 2-2 count on Carl Everett. Rocker went to that breaking ball, so you know he's got confidence in it.
0-1 to Bagwell, the possible tying run of the game. Wild pitch. Javier to second. Now that may change the dynamic a little bit for Bagwell. Now a base hit makes it a 1-run game, and Bagwell would be on base as the possible tying run with nobody out.
Bagwell would certainly take a base hit right here, but I don't think I've ever seen him take a swing as if that was what he was trying to do. It's almost like he's always trying to leave the ballpark. Isn't it?
He got the big fly stroke. He has had 1 hit in 1999 against John Rocker in 6 at-bats, including yesterday when he flied out to right. That 1 hit was a home run. A home run would tie this game. The slider. That's the one you were talking about, Rick. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's a good one, too. You can see the pitch at 80 miles an hour. the bat swing at 82 miles an hour. That's why he's out in front of this breaking ball right here. Not only a good breaking ball, but a better location to go along with it.
Bagwell 126 RBIs in the regular season, none in the postseason. He checked the swing. No, he didn't. Dana DeMuth made the call himself. And Bagwell stays to question that call, and DeMuth takes off the mask and glares at him.
Dana DeMuth said he didn't need any help on that. Going to take a look at it. Looks like he might have been just in front of home plate on that check.
All right, now let's get an update from Bill Pito.
All right, John, Mets and the D-backs, bottom 9, 2 out, winning run on second. The batter is Roger Cedeno against Matt Mantine. He grounds into the fourth. So we're headed to extra innings at Shea, 3-3 after 9 full.
Thank you, Bill. And the Astros would not mind hearing that same story repeated from this ballpark. We're heading to the 10th time. Carl Everett.
And they want to hear it from you.
I'm going to let Bill make that announcement if it happens. Slider for a strike to Carl Everett. Everett is another guy who would like some redemption. Everett was the first batter faced by Rocker in the 10th inning yesterday, and the bases loaded, nobody out jammed, and Everett swung at that slider, which was out of the strike zone. He swings at that slider too, and quickly he's behind 0-2. Everett is 0 for 3 today and was hit by a pitch in the 8th inning. Rocker seems to turn it up a little bit when the heat is really on. He gets somebody on base, and then he becomes unhittable. 0-2. Struck him out on 3 pitches. 2 down, and the last hope is the hottest hitter in the Astros lineup, who has already tied a National League postseason record in a 4-game series by driving in 8 runs, including 3 homers. The third one came in the 8th inning, a 3-run shot today.
And you know he can hit good pitching as well. There was a fastball from Kevin Millwood that he hit out of the ballpark in game 2. Nobody else could do that.
8 for 16. Only Dusty Baker in 1977 for the Dodgers, Gary Matthews in 1983 with the Phillies, have ever driven in 8 runs in a 4-game postseason series in the history of Major League Baseball. And of course, Caminiti would like to see this one not be a 4-game series. He is the Astros' last hope. The slider, 1 ball, no strikes. Matt Mieske has come out on deck with Bill Spires due next. Back to the screen. A big rip on that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Houston Astrodome, which has seen a lot of sports history. Remember the epic college basketball struggle. Elvin Hayes up against Lou Alcindor, as he was then known. And the Houston club was able to end the UCLA winning streak that night before 50,000 people in this place. Slider low for a ball as the flashbulbs go off all around the Astrodome. Many of the fans wanting to record what could be the final moments in this ballpark. Muhammad Ali fought here. Billie Jean King beat Bobby Riggs in tennis in this building.
Nolan Ryan's 5th no-hitter here.
In the dirt. 3-1. It seems as though they would rather risk having to face the go-ahead run than throw a hittable strike for the red-hot Caminiti. Deep center. Andrew Jones is there, and the ball game is over. The Atlanta Braves will have their own little final bit of Astrodome history as the Astrodome gets ready to shut its doors after 35 years of hosting Major League Baseball. The Atlanta Braves will do something that the Astros themselves were never able to do here. That is celebrate a postseason series win. The Astros' sad tale continues. They have never won a postseason series. And for the second time in the last 3 years, the Atlanta Braves are celebrating here at the Astrodome. It was John Smoltz with a complete game masterpiece 2 years ago. And that is John Smoltz who gets the win today with considerable help from that man, Brian Jordan, who had an incredible series, and John Rocker, the big left-hander who got out of just a horrible jam yesterday and then came on today with another tough save, an inning and a third. John Rocker, the Braves' new closer, who certainly answered all of the questions this year about whether the Braves bullpen would be good enough. We all know the answer now.
Even with the count 3-1, Rocker going with the breaking ball. That's the respect that he had for Ken Caminiti. He knew the ball was hit well. He's just real thankful right now it was hit to dead center in the big, spacious Houston Astrodome.
And look at that reaction there. And a sigh of relief from John Rocker when he saw it fall into the glove of Andrew Jones. Everybody had a bad moment there when that one cracked off the bat of Caminiti. But perhaps in the final swing of the bat in the Astrodome, that Astrodome being notorious as a pitcher's ballpark worked in the Astros' disfavor. A drive hit deep to center that might have done something good for them in the postseason, but not in this one. And the Braves will head into the clubhouse for a celebration. But of course, it may be a bit subdued because this is not a ball club that considers this the victory they really have in mind. This is just one step along the way for the team of the 90s.
Well, right along with Brian Jordan for me is the job of John Smoltz. We talked about him being a big-time, big-game pitcher. He does it once again. He's 4-0 now in divisional series. He's 6-2 in the next step, which is the league championship series. 2-1 in World Series play, but a 2.25 ERA there as well. So he loves these situations. He proved it once again today. He put up 6 zeros the first 6 innings against Houston, and that was enough to hold on for the win.
We're going to give them 30 seconds to celebrate, all right?
So the Astros would need a few seconds to celebrate. That was the word from their public relations director down there, Jim Schultz. John Smoltz with his 12th postseason win. And as we go back to reflect for a moment, yesterday it was Brian Jordan in the 6th inning. Maybe the only bad pitch made all day by Mike Hampton. Then with the game tied, it was Jordan again, a 2-run double with 2 down in the 12th inning. He drove in 5 runs in a 5-3 win. He wouldn't have had the chance to do that, though, were it not for this play in the 10th inning by Walt Weiss. A spectacular saving play. And then they went on to win an amazing game here at the Astrodome. And then today, it looked like they were in a laughing, a 7-0 lead back of John Smoltz. But the Houston Astros finally did find that offense. But finally at the end, it was Rocker again who shut them down. And now Tom Glavine starts the celebration in the clubhouse. John Smoltz getting doused in the background there.
These guys know how to do this stuff right here, don't they? They've had a lot of practice at it in the 90s.
Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach of the ball club that starts with that fabulous starting rotation. And there's Brian Jordan. 7 RBIs in a 4-game series for Brian Jordan. And Jeremy Schaap is down there with him. Jeremy?
Actually, I'm standing here right now with both Brian Jordan and John Smoltz. First of all, Brian Jordan, how much did it mean to you to be able to respond to the challenge in this series when the Astros made their strategy pitching around Chipper Jones?
I mean, I was up for the challenge, and I'm just glad things worked out for us. I'm glad Smokesy came out here and threw a great game for us, and we're victorious. It was a great team effort out there today and last night. I mean, well, yesterday, so I'm just so happy right now. I don't know what to say.
John, a great performance. You pitched a similar game 2 years ago here at the Astrodome. Did you feel as good as you did 2 years ago up until the home run by Caminiti?
I did. You know, the first 2 innings were the key to the game, and, you know, the offense provided us with some runs, and the layoff there a little bit hurt me, the 30 minutes in between pitching, but what can you say? All I can say is Rocker. I mean, Rockers was the difference, along with this guy.
John, dry yourself off. We'll be back here in a minute.
All right, Jeremy. John Smoltz, the first 2 innings were the key. As he got through it, the Astros left 5 men on base in the first 2 innings, and they left the bases loaded 4 times in these last 2 games. The last 2 games, as it turns out, in the history of the Houston Astrodome. John Miller for Rick Sutcliffe. The Braves are moving on. Golf is coming up next on ESPN. Thanks for joining us.